Annette thought she was marrying the man she loved. Little did she know he would end her life and destroy her family. She had always believed their first meeting was a result of some divine fate. She really should have listened to her philosophy teacher. She was too naive and never knew it was all a plan. The girl trembles as she heads to her husband's office. She hands him a letter and tells him to read it, but he refuses. He claims he is too busy. The man doesn't seem to care until she says she investigated his past. He finally looks shocked. Annette was in despair. She couldn't understand why. Why did the man who loved her so much suddenly change? She knew love could fade after marriage, but this maltreatment was just too much. Her investigation exposed everything. The man had never loved her. She was just a pawn he wanted to use. Hiner doesn't deny it. His agreement almost makes the girl crazy. She wonders how difficult it was for him to pretend to love her. His Annette Yumi's daughter. She had foolishly thought their meeting was some divine destiny, but from the start she was just a tool to him. Annette had lived a perfect life. Her family, the Rosenbergs, were part of royalty. Her father, Marquis Dietrich, was the king's nephew. He was also the commander of the Padania army. Hiner was a legion commander working under him. The couple had met in the Rosenberg garden and fell in love. They dated for 2 years, got married, and lived a happy life. Everything was perfect, until it wasn't. Like they say, everything has to come to an end, and so did Annette's happiness. The people were tired of the monarch system. Led by the Revolutionary Army, they overthrew the king and destroyed the nobles. Our heroine's father was killed by the army and her mother was forced to end her life. The worst betrayal was finding out her husband was the leader of the Revolutionary Army. Still, she refused to give up on him. She even betrayed her own father. But what did she get in return? Hiner's hate. He treated her like trash to be avoided. Annette knew he had changed, but she refused to believe their marriage was just a plan. She trusted him, even when the people gathered outside the mansion and begged for her death. She chose to believe in Hiner's love, but her loyalty only brought her more pain. She became the villain, the daughter of the man who oppressed the people, and was forced to take the blame. The girl was dragged into a mess she knew nothing about. She became empty, merely existing and not living. At that moment, she needed Hiner by her side, yet he never came. She always wondered why. Did she do something wrong? Or was her birth a mistake? She had a lot of questions, but when she read that letter, she realized the truth. Back at Hiner's office. Annette thinks it is funny. She had foolishly tried to change the man's heart and make him love her again. Only now does she realize the man had not changed. He had never loved her from the start. Hiner doesn't deny and says she is right. He seems unbothered, which makes the girl angry. She tells him to speak because she needs to hear the truth. The man finally reveals his true self. The truth is, he has always hated her father and the royal family. His marriage to her was just a plan. The girl is in pain. She wonders if he also hated her. Hiner tells her a story. In the past, the royal family would secretly train spies, and our male lead was one of them. He was at the training center her father supervised. The royal family, afraid they would be exposed, would secretly assassinate the spies after their mission ended. But Hiner managed to survive. He helped the Marquis secure his position and became the man's closest aide. That was the day he met Annette. She was dressed like a princess, looking so beautiful and bright. She acted like he was a charity case and offered him her pity. He thought her words were a mockery. So yes, he hated her. That story reveals everything. Annette finally understands it was all a plan. He approached her just to get his revenge. He hated her deeply, but like a fool, she fell in love with him. The girl has made up her mind. Since he doesn't want her, they can have a divorce. To our surprise, the man refuses. Annette is confused. She has nothing left to offer. Her parents are dead and the nobles have been destroyed. The only thing she has is her position as his wife. We have to admit, Hiner's revenge was successful. But the man doesn't think it is enough. He approaches Annette and violently holds her. He tells her there is no happy place left for her in this world. He has really gone crazy. He wants the girl to stay by his side and be unhappy for the rest of her life. It was at this moment Annette finally realized this was just the beginning of his revenge. Our heroine dreams of her past with Hiner. They would sit in her father's garden and talk about their future. The girl has always been scared of everything. She was so afraid she gave up her chance to study abroad. She confesses and says it was also because she wasn't good at studying. The only thing she can do is play the piano, but she thinks it might be the wrong path. Hiner encourages her and says her skills are perfect. The girl is amused because he has never heard her play. Like a faithful husband, the man says everything she does is good. The scene changes to their proposal. Hiner was really romantic, renting out a boat at night and proposing to her on sea. He looked really glad and promised to make her happy forever. He would be by her side for the rest of her life. But who would have thought his promise would turn to a nightmare? Our heroine wishes their past was all a dream. Annette reads the newspaper, and once again, the people are begging for her death. The girl is frustrated and decides to go for a walk. She meets her husband's subordinate, Major Eugene. He asks about her health, but Annette knows he doesn't care. She's about to leave when the man suddenly mentions some marriage plans. It turns out her husband is planning to marry Miss Anelli. The woman seems to be Hiner's subordinate, and even the public supports their marriage. Eugene tries to upset Annette, but she doesn't care anymore. She knows everyone is waiting for her downfall. Every day, the newspapers write articles about her. They all want to get rid of her. Some even write letters just to threaten her. Annette is tired. Being by Hiner's side feels like hell. Eugene is still complaining. He calls her a stain and says nobody supports their marriage. Annette interrupts his long story and tells him she already asked Hiner for a divorce. The major is shocked when she says her husband refused. She begs Eugene to persuade the man. The poor girl is really tired. She finally notices that everyone dislikes her. So why would Hiner love her? That night, the man visits her bedroom. Hiner knows she isn't sleeping. He tried to refuse Annelie's marriage proposal, but the news was already published. Still, he refuses to divorce Annette. The girl is confused. The man says he dislikes her, but why does he look scared when she mentions a divorce? She begs him to let her go. Everyone thinks she is still living well because of him. They all want him to get rid of her. To the public, she is just a stain on his perfect life. She wonders if he just wants to watch her suffer by his side. He must really dislike her if he is willing to harm himself too. Hiner is actually worried she might not live well if she leaves his side. But the girl thinks he is just afraid. He is scared she might still have some property hidden somewhere. She tells him she has nothing. She doesn't even have any friends. The man doesn't believe her. Her father had many friends who went abroad during the revolution. They might have started a better life. Annette doesn't care about them. The only thing she needs is a divorce, but Hiner keeps refusing. Seeing how much she wants it, he's determined not to give it to her. Annette regrets everything. She should have known his soft, smiling face and friendly voice was just a trap. His love for her was never real. He really is a great spy. She keeps begging him to let her go. He wonders why she is so desperate to leave. Does she finally hate him after finding out about his betrayal? He is shocked when she says she doesn't hate him. The poor girl has really lost her hope. She doesn't have the courage to hate anyone. She doesn't care if the whole world hates her. Every day, she reads the newspaper and everyone wishes for her death. She reminds them of the monarchy, so they want to destroy her. The girl has been brainwashed by this news. She is ready to end her life if that is what the people want. Our heroine was an innocent girl who knew nothing about politics, but she was forced to learn. She had to know why the people overthrew the monarchy. She didn't understand their decision, but was forced to accept it. Everyone kept blaming her, making her believe it really was her fault. Hiner is shocked. He wonders if she knows what she is saying. But Annette knows. All she wants is a divorce. She is ready for her downfall, but she refuses to fall as his wife. She wants to have some dignity in front of the man she loves. But her behavior makes the man upset. She keeps talking about divorce, which frustrates him. She makes it seem like an easy decision. He tells the girl she will always be his wife and will never have any freedom or happiness. He will keep her trapped to his side and watch her suffer. She must pay for her sins. Annette is silent. The man calms down and tells her there is a banquet they need to attend. She is still his wife, so she will follow him. Annette wonders if he will drag her there if she refuses. She seems to have forgotten that Hiner is a crazy man. He threatens to lock her up in a mental hospital. Poor Annette is shocked, but the man isn't done. He tells her there is no way she can escape. If she runs away, he has enough power to find her. He tells her to be obedient if she doesn't want to suffer. Annette finally understands this man is crazy. He approached her with a purpose and deceived her. Still, she refused to believe it. She convinced herself he only disliked her because she lost everything. She believed his love would return, but now she realizes that what they had was never love. She has no choice but to agree to him. He leaves her alone and she begins to cry. The girl seems to have some problems sleeping. She decides to take some medicine, but instead of swallowing it, she seems to be gathering them in a bottle. She stares at the medicine with a sad face. Just what is she planning? The next day, Annette visits her doctor. She asks for a new medicine since she still has trouble sleeping. Even today, she woke up with a headache. However, the doctor doesn't seem to respect her. He dismisses her headache and says there is no cure for it. He even says she is overreacting. Annette is upset and asks if she has to endure the headache. Well, that is actually the man's goal. Our heroine is sure something is wrong. She keeps feeling dizzy and even has a fever, but the man isn't concerned. He says she might be too stressed and even suggests she's lazy. He tells her to stop lying around and says she should take a walk. He thinks she is just overreacting because she has been pampered. He says he works for the mansion and isn't her personal doctor. Our heroine really has a hard life. Even the maids can laugh at her. She is ashamed and sends the man away. The banquet finally begins. Hiner is the king and everyone is eager to greet him. They all ignore Annette, treating her like air. Annette watches them all. She thought she could never understand Hiner, but now she does. He dragged her along, even though he knew nobody would welcome her. He said she had to fulfill her duty, but now she understands why he brought her here. He just wants to watch her suffer. She is someone who never leaves the mansion. The only place people can harm her is at a party like this. The girl is sad and keeps drinking. She overhears them talking about her husband's marriage to Anelli. The man says he rejected it, making the people upset. They encourage him to date the woman. Hiner stops being friendly and reminds them he has a wife. But Annette doesn't feel better. Which woman will be happy to hear her husband talking about marrying another woman? Hiner is just too cruel. The man she is thinking about appears by her side and hugs her. He even stops her from drinking. Now the girl is confused, wondering what he is up to. Her miserable night finally has some happiness. A special person has been invited to the banquet and it turns out to be Felix Kafka. Annette looks shocked to hear this. The man is the best pianist in the world. He won first place in every competition he attended and is loved by all of Pedania. Our heroine never thought she would see him again. She hasn't played the piano in 3 years, but hearing the man's music comforts her. She also has a special relationship with Felix. He was her idol growing up, and Annette wanted to become a pianist like him. Her father used his connections, and she met the man several times. Felix would encourage her, give her autographs, and even speak to her. But everything has changed. Now that Annette thinks about it, Felix must have despised her back then. He might have been a music genius, but he was also a commoner. He must have hidden his hatred for a noble like her. She looks sad, which Hiner notices. The man is worried and tries to speak to her, but they are interrupted when a group of ladies appear. They seem determined to force our heroine to play them a song. Annette is nervous and tells them she hasn't played in 3 years, but that doesn't stop the women. They even push her to the stage. The girl is desperate and looks back at Hiner. She wants him to help her, but he says nothing. Annette is hurt again. She scolds herself for trusting Hiner. She really thought he would help her. Everyone, even Felix, is waiting for her to play. Annette wonders if watching her disgrace will be enough for them. They must be happy watching a woman of noble birth end up like this. Our heroine wasn't lying when she said she can't play. She seems to have some form of trauma, and it is well-deserved. Imagine watching your father be killed while you play the piano. The soldiers who had killed her father even mocked her for living so freely. Hiner is staying up late again. He tries to read, but he keeps thinking about his wife. It turns out Annette had a panic attack on the stage. The man was very worried when he heard her throwing up in the bathroom. After that, they hurried home. It clearly seemed like she had some form of trauma, but Hiner refuses to believe it. He thinks someone pampered like her, someone who had lived a peaceful life, didn't deserve to be traumatized. He is annoyed when he remembers her behavior at the banquet. She keeps asking for a divorce, but he refuses to accept it. He can't let her go so easily. Not after he suffered so much just to get her. The man knows his decision is twisted, but he can't let her leave. It turns out he met her when they were younger. Hiner had fallen in love with her then, but was a one-sided love. He hates remembering that period. He just wants to forget the past. Our heroine tries to confront her fears and goes to her piano room. She has been playing the piano from the moment she started walking. She even brought it over to Hiner's mansion. She knows what keys to press, but still she can't play. Since the day of her father's death, everything she had faded away. Her power, connections, and money. She had lost everything. She thought her situation would get better, but now she realizes there is nothing left for her. Hiner is annoyed again. The butler has just informed him his stubborn little wife is refusing her meals. It makes him so upset he goes to her room. The woman he is worried about is sewing and even ignores him. He is annoyed and questions her. She spent the whole day in her room and is even refusing her meals. He wonders if this is her way of challenging him. Our girl isn't thinking about him and tells him not to worry. The man notices the packets of medicine on the table and immediately panics. He sees the little bottle of medicine she has been gathering. The girl looks guilty and tries to pretend it is nothing. When the man keeps questioning her, she tells him she couldn't eat the medicine, so she gathered them up. Of course, Hiner knows she is lying, but he doesn't argue. He says some food will be brought up and even plans to change her medicine. The girl tries to protest, but she suddenly becomes obedient. The man is afraid she is planning something dangerous. He tells her she can't die in a disgraceful way. She is the princess of Rosenberg, so her death must be graceful. His words make her mad, but she bites her lips to stop talking. The servants have prepared a meal. Annette wants the man to leave, but he refuses. She suddenly becomes furious and yells at him. She asks what he would do if she refuses to eat. Hiner is shocked and wonders why she is so upset. He thinks it is just because of the medicine and even scolds her for not speaking like a lady. The girl is annoyed. The man seems to know a lot about her. He must have investigated her just to win her heart. But everything has changed. Our heroine reminds him she isn't his lover anymore or a princess. Right now, she is just nothing. The man is stunned by her words. He knows she is right. Her noble birth is useless now, and even her loved ones are all dead. Yet, she seems as noble and beautiful as the day he first saw her. Those memories just make him miserable. He takes out his anger on her and forces her to eat. The girl plays with her food while the man watches her. He suddenly notices the cloth she was sewing. For some reason, it looks really ugly. He remembers how beautiful her sewing was in the past. So why does it suddenly look like something a child would do? Annette finally speaks. She wants to travel to a different city alone. As expected, the man refuses. The girl isn't surprised. She knew he would refuse. She still doesn't eat, and the man finally agrees to leave. But he warns her, if she refuses her meal one more time, he is going to lock her up in a mental hospital. He leaves, and so he doesn't see the mocking smile on the girl's face. Hiner is still worried and calls Annette's doctor. He asks about the drug he found in the girl's room, and the man says it is just a sleeping pill. Hiner has found out the girl's plan. She was probably going to overdose and end her life. He doesn't believe she would have that courage. He even thinks she is just trying to attract attention. He despises her, thinking she doesn't know what suffering is. She is a weak woman who panics just because of a piano, or what people say. She knows nothing about beatings, pain, or torture. He remembers the past and how she would praise his beauty. Back then, he thought she was the most beautiful woman in the world. Now, he just wants her to be in despair. He hopes her life will be unhappy just like his life was destroyed. The man takes off his shirt and we see his body is covered in scars. Because he had a dark life, he wants Annette to also be in darkness. He wants to watch her life fall apart. And then he would join her. The day has just begun, but Annette is already tired. She thinks about her past with Hiner. She was eager to change the man's mind and decided to spend the night with him. She thought things would change if they had a child together. The man didn't reject her, but he never showed her love. He refused to reveal his body and would leave after he slept with her. Annette would be left alone in his cold room. Still, she continued, hoping he would change his mind. But he never did. She wonders why he never rejected her. The girl is really tired and wishes her life would just end this way. As if our heroine's day couldn't get any worse, her husband's new lover appears. Lady Anelli asks to speak with Annette. The girl doesn't care and tells the woman to do what she wants. Anelli has always wanted to meet the girl and has finally gotten the chance. Everyone knows Annette isn't allowed out of the mansion. The papers have been filled with news about her, making Anelli wonder what kind of person she is. Annette knows the woman doesn't really care about her. She is tired of the random talks and tells the woman to speak her mind. Anelli is actually here because she found out Hiner refused to get divorced. She actually dislikes our heroine very much. Every time she remembers what the father and daughter did, she feels disgusted. She believes Annette doesn't deserve to be by Hiner's side. Today, she wants to force the girl to get a divorce. Our heroine isn't interested. She advises Anelli to speak to her husband instead. She is being nice, but the woman starts threatening her. She promises to use all her power to make sure Hiner divorces our girl. Annette is disgusted by the woman's behavior. It turns out the reason our heroine's reputation is so bad is because Anelli was framing her. The girl thought it was unfair at first. Why was she always blamed for everything, even when she was innocent? The woman tries to defend herself, but Annette stops her. She knows she isn't innocent, but the woman purposely made things worse. Still, the girl doesn't blame her. It has been 3 years, so she has accepted her fate. Now she even respects their cause. She tells Anelli she has no control over the divorce. But she is sure their marriage would soon end. Annette is reading some documents when a maid knocks. It seems our girl has a visitor called Ansgar. The girl is surprised to hear that name, especially when she sees the man. He looks really handsome. The Stetter family were close friends with the Rosenbergs. Ansgar was the second son of the family. Annette is really surprised to see him. The two had grown up together. Later on, the man had proposed to her, but she refused. The boy was disappointed and traveled abroad to study. The two friends lost contact after that. During the revolution, his family was also destroyed, but Ansgar managed to escape since he was abroad. Now he hugs her. He seems worried when he notices how thin she is, but she is still the most beautiful woman in his eyes. The man says he has sent her many letters but never received a reply. He was worried and decided to visit. The girl is surprised and wonders if he sent it to the Rosenberg mansion. She secretly wonders why the man is here. Right now, the people dislike nobles, and she has become the #1 target. She believes she has no value to Ansgar. The man seems surprised when she says she never got his letters. He made sure to send it to Hiner's mansion. Annette claims it might have gotten lost, but she is sure her annoying husband took them. She asks if he has returned to Pedania, and the man says he is only here for a short visit. He actually came to see her. He tells her he is now an ambassador for France. After the revolution, the remaining nobles fled to the country. Annette is impressed and praises the man, but Ansgar isn't happy. If everything hadn't changed, he would have had a better life. His words upset the girl. She is surprised when he says he got married and divorced last year. He explains he did it just to gain citizenship. He finally tells her why he came here. He knows how hard her life in Pedania has been. The media paints her as the villain, and even her own husband refuses to help her. He thinks she should leave this marriage. Annette didn't expect him to say that. The maid is still there, and she knows everything would be reported to Hiner, but she doesn't care anymore. She tells Ansgar she also wants a divorce, but things are very troublesome. The man misunderstands and thinks it is because she has nowhere to go. Well, he isn't wrong. Annette wonders if this man is here to mock her. She is wrong because he is here to save her. He wants her to come with him to France. Annette is shocked. The man explains he still has feelings for her. If she marries him, she can become a citizen of France. All she has to do is accept his offer and he will make her happy. Everything would have been fine if he never said those last words. It reminds the girl of Hiner's promise, so she becomes upset. She tells Ansgar her husband won't let her go. The man doesn't understand and suggests she gets a divorce. Then, Hiner will just be a stranger to her. He reminds her situation is bad. Right now, he is her only hope. The girl is confused and asks for more time to think. Everything is just too sudden. The man is embarrassed. He had been planning this moment for so long, he became overexcited. He apologizes and agrees to give her time to think. He hands her his business card and even writes down his hotel's address. He says she can visit him anytime. Annette is surprised. She thought the man would change, but he is still the same boy she knew. Seeing him reminds her of their innocent childhood. Back then, they really knew nothing. The man reminds her to contact him, and Annette agrees. As soon as he leaves, she begins to think. She wonders why he came looking for her. She thinks about the abandoned nobles and suddenly remembers her father was the king's nephew. Right now, she is the only person who has royal blood. After the revolution, the families that supported the monarchy were all destroyed. Hiner was the commander-in-chief and made sure peace was restored to Pedania. The people all praised him and called him their hero. He has taken over Pedania, so if the abandoned nobles want to fight back, they need help from outside. Annette understands now. If she accepts Ansgar's proposal, she will have to help him and the other nobles. But that is what she needs right now. That is the only way she can escape Hiner. That night, the couple are having dinner, but Annette refuses to eat. Hiner keeps watching her, and he looks upset. He has heard about her meeting with Ansgar and demands to know what they spoke about. Our poor girl's appetite is ruined. She is sure the maid already told him everything, yet he insists she tells him herself. She doesn't hide anything and says Ansgar wants her to divorce him. The man wants to take her back to France. Our male lead is jealous. He thinks she is asking for a divorce because she wants to marry Ansgar. Annette calls him ridiculous. This is the first time she is meeting the man in years, but her husband refuses to believe her. He thinks she might have been talking to Ansgar secretly. His words remind her of the letters, and she asks him about it. Hiner is so nervous, his hands start to shake. He refuses to answer her question and says she will never escape this place. Annette is frustrated. Ansgar could make her happy, but Hiner will never let her go. She thinks the man is trying to punish her using this marriage, but the girl has no plans of leaving. In the past, she would have happily accepted Ansgar's suggestion, but now she has changed. She knows the nobles only see her as a tool. They just need her royal blood, but our girl is done being a pawn. She is also worried about Hiner's strange behavior. His friends all want him to divorce her. She also wants to leave, yet the man keeps refusing. Just what is he planning? The next day, our heroine packs a bag and decides to go on a trip. Of course, she lies to the guards and says she is going to church. Still, they refuse to let her leave. She has to take an attendant or ask for Hiner's permission. The girl says she doesn't want to bother him. The guard tries to speak, but she shouts at him. He's afraid and lets her go. Well, we see why the guard was worried. Instead of heading to the church, our girl takes a car to the train station. The journey begins, and Annette meets a gossipy old lady. She has been sighing so much, the woman becomes worried and asks what is wrong. Our girl says she is fine and explains she is going to the beach. The woman is curious and wonders where her partner is. Our heroine reveals she is married, but her husband is a scumbag. She plans to divorce him really soon. The old lady doesn't think it is a big deal. When Annette says she doesn't have any children, the woman encourages her. It is normal for people to get divorced these days, and our girl is still young. The old lady really likes to gossip. This time, she asks why Annette's relationship with her husband is bad. Our heroine tells the lady her husband and his friends all hate her. Even if her life ends, they wouldn't care. She is tired of such a life. The lady sympathizes with her, but tells her not to worry. All she needs to do is focus on the people who cherish her. Our girl knows she is right. She can't expect everyone to love her. But she is tired of everyone hating her. Even worse, the people who love her are all gone. Annette arrives at the beach. Everything is familiar and makes her happy. She hasn't come here in a long time. After her marriage, she was locked up in the mansion. She admires the place and suddenly sees a man painting. She becomes curious and decides to go over. She wants to buy a painting, but the man refuses. Instead, he wants to draw her. Our heroine is nervous. She wonders if she should take off her hat, but is afraid people might recognize her. The man notices her struggles and tells her to leave it on. But our girl decides to be brave and removes it. The man has no reaction. She doesn't know if he truly doesn't recognize her or is just pretending, but it makes her happy. The man begins to draw, but there is a huge problem. His client doesn't know how to smile. Annette tries to smile, but it looks very weird. The man is frustrated and shows her how she looks. His face is really funny and it makes her laugh. Our girl's smile is so pretty. The man tells her to keep smiling as he draws. The painting is completed and Annette looks stunning, but she refuses to accept it and says she is going to buy another one. The man shows her another painting and even offers to reduce the price. Our girl is having so much fun, but the devil himself arrives. Hiner is here. Annette leaves her bag and shoes on the sand as she plays in the sea. She seems to be having fun and picks up some shells. Suddenly, the girl stops moving and looks at the ocean. The next moment, she rushes deep into the water. Thankfully, she is stopped before she gets too far. Someone grabs her and pulls her back. Annette is stunned when she looks up and sees Hiner's terrified face. A few hours ago, our heroine thought she had escaped, but as soon as she left, the guards informed Hiner. The man is furious when he hears she is going to the train station. He chases after her and orders all checkpoints to be shut down and searched. If she tries to escape, he is going to find her. And so the man begins his new job of stalking his wife. He keeps watching her, but she looks so calm. It doesn't seem like she is trying to escape. He wonders why she left the mansion and suddenly has a terrifying thought. What if she is going to meet Ansgar? Just the thought makes him angry. He wants to drag her back to the mansion, but in the end decides to follow her. He boards the same train and isn't surprised she is in third class. After all, she has no money. He overhears her conversation with the old woman. He feels no shame when Annette says her husband and his friends don't like her. He even thinks she is right. Even if her life ends, he wouldn't care. And yet, the thought of his wife dying makes him angry. The old woman encourages the girl to focus on her loved ones. Now Hiner really feels like laughing. The girl has no family left. He is the only one she has. Even though they don't love each other, he will keep her trapped by his side forever. The man continues his stalking job and follows her to the beach. He watches her play around happily. He also thinks he is behaving like a weirdo. He is about to leave when he sees the girl smiling. Hiner is stunned by her beauty. He can't remember the last time his wife smiled. Back then, her happiest moments seem to have been spent with him. The man is annoyed because he keeps thinking of the past. His plan is to grab Annette and drag her back to the mansion immediately. He tries to convince himself he hates seeing her happy. He thinks she shouldn't be allowed to have even a minute of freedom or happiness. If she tries to escape again, he is going to lock her up. The man keeps saying he will do this and that, but watching her smile, he can't even move a step. Back to the present. Hiner pulls Annette out of the sea. The woman isn't surprised to see him. She even thought he would show up earlier. The man is annoyed by her behavior and orders her to pack up. However, our heroine isn't wearing her shoes and ends up injuring her feet. The man is frustrated, but still carries her like a princess. Except, Annette doesn't want it. She keeps telling him to put her down and insists she can walk. The man ignores her and heads to a hotel. He books a room and takes her to the bathroom. He leaves and Annette finally notices how deep her wound is. After she washes up, she sees the man waiting for her in the room. He forces her to sit while he treats her injuries. Our girl feels embarrassed. The nobles of Pedania are not supposed to show their feet to anyone. We might think it is okay since Hiner is her husband, but they have never seen each other undress before. Her face is so red, Hiner notices. Now that he is done treating her, he starts questioning her. He wants to know what she was thinking. What is so important about this place? Why did she lie to her attendant just to come here? Even worse, why did she go swimming in the sea at night? Annette lies and says she just wanted to see the ocean, but the man doesn't believe her. At first, he thought she was secretly meeting Ansgar, but her behavior at the beach was just too strange. The girl feels guilty and looks away. She claims she was just trying to wet her feet. By running into the ocean? Who would believe that? Well, Hiner does. He has known Annette for a long time and she is scared of many things. Even simple things like dark places or water scares her. He hates how carefree she is. She went out alone and wasn't worried that something could happen to her. She left her bag on the beach and didn't think that someone could steal it. There were plenty of places to keep her things, but she chose to be careless. The girl isn't bothered and it makes him angry. He hates how she acts when things like this happen. The world has changed, but she chooses to remain the same. She is still that disgusting noblewoman. He finds her really annoying. Hiner's words are very hurtful. Annette wonders just how long he has hated her. Maybe he disliked her from their very first meeting. Thinking about it now, the man must have thought she was very foolish. Hiner is shocked to hear that, but Annette smiles. She must have been a joke to him. The woman he disliked and was pretending to love had really fallen in love with him. She even confessed her feelings. The man must have thought she was just a clown. She remembers what she said 3 years ago. Even if the kingdom had fallen and her parents died, she had never stopped loving him. The man is stunned to hear this. He doesn't know how long Annette waited. She always believed he would love her again. Every time she was broken, she would pick herself up and keep waiting. But the girl is tired. How long does she have to endure? Hiner looks desperate as he asks if she still loves him. But our heroine really doesn't know. It doesn't matter anymore. Her love has always been useless to him, so nothing will change. She makes a vow. Everything will end here. Our girl is done bathing, but when she steps outside, she sees Hiner's luggage. She is horrified and wonders if the man is staying in her room. Her husband is suspicious and thinks she is trying to escape. He even rushes to lock the door. He warns her not to think about leaving. If she tries to run away, she will be caught and dragged back. Annette is forced to go to bed. She really has to admire Hiner. Even though he rushed here, he still brought along his documents. The girl is confused by the man's behavior. Why did he come to find her, and why was he so angry? She is convinced he just wants to trap her by his side forever. She really can't understand him. Hiner is done with his work and approaches the bed. But as soon as he steps close, Annette sits up. He asks why she is still awake. The girl says she can't sleep. She decides to take her drugs, but the man stops her. He snatches the drugs away and warns her to stop taking the pills. The girl is annoyed and says it isn't her fault. The man yells at her to stop. He is afraid she will become addicted. Our heroine has been scolded and sits on the bed alone. The man keeps treating her like she is annoying. She remembers a time when he cared about her. Every time they argued, he would apologize to her first. He would hug her tightly and kiss her. Only now does she realize he was just pretending to love her. He just wanted to become her father's closest assistant. The girl knows his past actions are meaningless, but she keeps thinking about it. She's interrupted when the man appears and hands her a cup of tea. He claims it will help her sleep. Now our girl is confused again. Hiner insists on searching her bag. He is alarmed when he sees it is full of drugs. He asks her about them and she says they are for headache and digestion. She tells him the doctor thinks she is oversensitive. Hiner is annoyed but doesn't say anything. He keeps searching through her bag and finds the card Ansgar gave her. The man is jealous and quickly hides it in his coat. Annette doesn't know what he is doing. She wonders if there are restoration parties in France, but Hiner gets angry. He thinks she is asking because she wants to run away with Ansgar and join one. Our girl is really innocent. She explains she isn't thinking about that. She tells him she has nothing to hide and promises not to leave with Ansgar. Hiner doesn't care and tells her he isn't impressed. The girl reminds him of his vow to make a better world. Actually, she doesn't understand. People say the world has become a better place, but for her it is a cruel prison. The man thinks she pities him and becomes annoyed. He yells at her but immediately feels guilty. He tells her not to worry since he is doing well. The girl looks sad. She says she won't follow Ansgar and doesn't care if he believes her. She refuses to drink the tea anymore and decides to go to bed. Our heroine is finally sleeping, but now it is Hiner's turn to stay awake. He keeps watching her. Annette is asleep and has no idea a big pervert is watching her. Hiner tries to touch her but stops himself. He wonders what is wrong with him. Why didn't he just book another room? He keeps remembering the way the girl rushed into the sea and forces himself to stop thinking about her. Our male lead can't sleep and decides to become a detective. He sneaks over to Annette's clothes and searches the pockets. He had noticed her picking something up, but all he finds are some seashells. He is annoyed and wonders why she is gathering this trash. He throws them into the trash can. The man is frustrated and decides to go out for a smoke. He immediately feels much better. He had to stop smoking after he met Annette. If he wanted to smoke, he had to hide in a corner. He did this just to deceive her. But now that the act is over, he can stop pretending. Yet, he still feels frustrated. No matter how much he tries to drag her down and ruin her, her presence still affects him. He knows she still controls his vulnerable side, and it makes him really miserable. The man returns to the bedroom and sees those shells again. He remembers the girl saying her heart is useless. But Hiner knows it isn't. He knows how she feels. She must be in despair and pain because he doesn't love her back. He had once felt that same pain and knows he will always need this woman. A few days pass and our couple have returned to the mansion. Annette looks at the Pedania donation list and makes a decision. She's going to sell her jewelry. The driver offers to take her to a jewelry store, but the shop is hidden in an alley. To reach there, they will have to walk. Our heroine agrees, but she is going to wish she didn't. Annette arrives at the store and shows the man the jewelry she wants to sell. They all look beautiful. Hiner knew the girl loved pretty things. Every time they went on a date, he would prepare a gift for her. He never cared if it was expensive. She was always surprised by his gifts and would even scold him. Her room was filled with his presents. The man always said his plan was to give her all the beautiful things she liked. Back then, her life with Hiner was really beautiful. But after the revolution, her family assets were all seized. Even her personal properties were taken away. All she has left are these jewelries, and she is ready to get rid of them. The girl seems to be preparing for her death. The shop owner calculates the price. Annette is about to leave, but decides to sell her wedding ring too. The man examines it, and when he says the price, our heroine is shocked. It is so expensive, even the shop owner refuses to accept it. The girl is really surprised. The money from the other items she sold is enough to feed a person for several years, yet the ring is 3 times that price. Even when she was Rosenberg's only daughter, she never had something so expensive. Hiner must have thought only an expensive ring would satisfy her. After all, she was a foolish and vain woman who knew nothing about the world. All she cared about was enjoying everything she wanted. Our girl leaves the shop and walks back to the car. On the way, she sees a strange man looking at her. Our heroine doesn't know, but the man is taking out a gun. She feels something is wrong because the boy keeps glaring at her. His eyes look really scary. Suddenly, the man pulls out his gun and shoots her. Annette is in shock and doesn't move away. Her bodyguard appears and protects her. But it is too late. Our heroine has been shot. The girl is bleeding out, but even at that moment she thinks about Hiner. They say he has been shot 3 times. She wonders if he also suffered from this pain. It feels like her body is being torn apart. She remembers the boy's eyes. It was full of hatred. Our heroine is in so much pain. She wishes the boy shot her in the head. Hiner is working when he receives the call that changes everything. Annette has been shot and is now unconscious. The person says she is at Luther Hospital. Our male lead abandons his work and rushes out of the office. He looks like he is about to cry. Inside the car, he keeps smoking and tries to calm down, but all he can see is Annette's pretty face. The man arrives at the hospital looking worried. The nurse leads him to Annette's room. He opens the door and sees she is still unconscious. Her doctor arrives and tells Hiner about her condition. He says the gunshot wound wasn't serious and her injury will recover soon, but he has terrible news for the man. It turns out our heroine was pregnant. The baby was still in the early stages, but because of this incident, she had a miscarriage. Hiner is in shock. He keeps trembling and asks the doctor to repeat himself. He still can't believe Annette was pregnant. The doctor has more horrible news for him. Our heroine's body has always been weak. If this baby was born, it would have been her only child. But because of this incident, the baby is gone. Now our girl will never have a child again. Hiner is struggling. He remembers the last time he slept with Annette. She always wanted to get intimate with him. He mocked her every time, thinking she was delusional. She probably thought having a child would bring them closer. But during their 4 years of marriage, she never got pregnant. The doctor said her body was too weak. Hiner thought she was barren and never expected her to get pregnant. The doctor says Annette will soon wake up. Then they will have to get rid of the baby. Hiner begs the man to hide the information from the public. He remembers his wife has been sick lately. The doctor says it might be related to the pregnancy. Annette complained of headaches and insomnia, so they all thought she was sick. Meanwhile, the girl was just pregnant. Hiner is furious. Now he wonders if those drugs she took affected the baby. The doctor agrees to change her medication and leaves the couple in the room. He thinks the rumors are true. The king is really scary. The man is also confused. The rumors say the couple's relationship is bad, but it doesn't seem to be true. A quick flashback to 3 months ago. Once again, Annette visits Hiner and wants to get intimate with him. She feels ashamed because she is always the one asking. She is afraid the man might reject her. What if he dislikes her? He might refuse to hold her and even kick her out of the room. How embarrassing. Our girl doesn't want that. She doesn't want the man to reject her. She hopes he won't kick her out because she needs to feel his touch. Well, the man accepts and they spend the night together. But when it ends, he once again leaves her behind to drown in her misery. Annette wakes up and finds herself in a strange place. Even worse, her stomach hurts. She suddenly notices Hiner standing by her side. When she sees his face, she is stunned. The man looks terrified. The doctor arrives and our heroine is told the bad news. The girl is in shock. She was convinced she was the problem. She thought she was just overreacting, but never knew she was finally pregnant. And now her baby is gone. Hiner approaches and says he has hidden the news. He promises to handle everything himself and begs her not to worry. He tells her the culprit has been caught. They have no idea why the boy attacked her, but he has been arrested. The public aren't supposed to own guns. Since the boy hurt a pregnant woman, he will be charged with murder. But our girl isn't concerned about that. She asks how old the child was. Hiner says the baby was 11 weeks and our heroine is heartbroken. She really got pregnant that night. Seeing her in so much pain, our male lead tries to cheer her up, but he makes the worst suggestion ever and says she can just adopt a child. Annette thinks she might have misheard him, but the man repeats himself again. He wants her to adopt a child. Our girl refuses. She wonders why Hiner brought up that topic when he has never wanted a child with her. She even thinks it is best that their baby is gone. The man is horrified by her words and asks her to explain. The girl's reason is simple. The child would have been unhappy. He would lack love and will always be cursed by her bad reputation. The child might even have some sickness because of all the drugs she took. She thinks Hiner is supposed to be happy, but the man looks very upset. He tells her this isn't what he wanted. He doesn't dislike having kids, he just never thought of it. He repeats what the doctor said. It will be hard for Annette to get pregnant again. For the next 4 years, they will never have a child. The girl doesn't seem bothered and even thinks the man should be happy. Having a child with her could ruin his reputation. Hiner knows she is right. Annette is the woman he hates the most, so he would never love her child. The miscarriage is a blessing to him and all his supporters. So why is he still worried about the woman? He knows how much she wanted a child. The girl is tired and tells him to leave. But once he steps outside, she begins to cry. She doesn't know if she is selfish or lonely, but she really hoped for a child. She knows the baby would have suffered if he was born. Just because it is her child, the world would hate him. She thinks it is best for the baby to disappear. But why does she still feel empty? Our heroine is getting better and will soon leave the hospital. Hiner keeps asking about the drugs she took. The doctor reveals they are harmful to a pregnant woman. He is surprised her former doctor gave her those drugs without checking if she was pregnant. Annette thinks about that nasty doctor. He didn't even care when she stopped her period. The doctor says he will give her another medicine, but the girl doesn't care. She's already used to taking drugs. Hiner takes the girl back to her room. He is furious and tells her to change her doctor. Annette is unbothered and doesn't care anymore. The man is upset that the doctor never noticed her pregnancy. He keeps talking about it, which frustrates the girl. She yells at him, wondering why he pretends to care. She says he can change her doctor if he wants. After all, he is used to controlling her life. Hiner tries to apologize, but he makes it seem like it isn't his problem. The girl is truly tired. Right now, she feels nothing for this man. Her love for him was just a waste. She insists on leaving the hospital soon. The man refuses, saying she is still weak. He suggests she starts therapy, but Annette rejects his idea. He doesn't want to upset her and agrees. Suddenly, our male lead looks shocked. He has noticed that Annette isn't wearing her ring. He asks her about it, but the girl isn't concerned. She boldly says she took it off and calls it meaningless. Hiner is still wearing his ring and quickly hides his hand. He is embarrassed and runs out of the room. Our couple tried to keep their miscarriage a secret, but the rumor still spreads. That night, a group of reporters gather outside Annette's room. She watches them from her window. In the past, Hiner would watch them harm her and would pretend not to notice. She wonders if things have changed now. Hiner arrives. He has packed her bags and they are ready to leave. They step outside and are surrounded by the reporters. He warns her not to say anything, but it is really hard. The reporters keep questioning her. They make it sound like it's all her fault. Our girl is in despair until she hears a strange sound. Someone seems to be calling her. She sees a woman at the back of the crowd. The lady says she wants to speak to her and claims to be the suspect's brother. Annette is stopped outside the hospital by the suspect's sister. She is surprised and wonders why the woman is looking for her. The reporters hear this and they become excited. They are curious about her visit and offer her an interview. But the woman refuses. She only wants to speak to Annette. She has been trying to contact her and decides to visit her today. Our heroine is curious, but Hiner chases the woman away. He pushes Annette into the car. The lady doesn't give up and says she will be waiting for our girl's letter. The couple return home. Annette keeps thinking about the woman, and for some reason, she looks familiar. She is sure she has seen her before, but doesn't know where. She has no idea if she offended the lady in the past. She can't remember anything. Our girl is in despair. She doesn't know what is true or false anymore. She thinks she is going crazy. Hiner notices she looks scared and asks her about it. The girl admits she is still thinking about the woman. She wants to know why the lady is looking for her. Hiner tells her not to worry. He believes the lady wants to beg for her brother's life. Our girl is sure that isn't the reason. The lady mentions some letters and Annette asks him about it. Hiner, the letter thief, looks guilty. He admits the lady sent many letters, but he refused to deliver them. He didn't want to upset her since she is a victim. The girl is annoyed by his behavior. The man always makes decisions for her. He also stole Ansgar's letters. She refuses to argue and says she wants to meet the lady. The man is surprised since she stops asking about the letters. Our girl doesn't care anymore and says it is all in the past. The man looks upset when he sees she really isn't concerned. His behavior confuses Annette. He keeps acting like they have a future together, but she is no longer interested. She tells him what she wants. Since he stole her letters, he has to find a way to contact the woman. The man agrees, but insists she goes with some guards. A few days pass, and Annette finally receives a report about the lady. She is called Catherine Grott and has been married for 6 months. She sells fruits on the Western Road with her husband. Our girl reads the report, but still has no idea who the woman is. She doesn't know why Catherine is interested in her. She has 2 options. She can contact the woman or just ignore everything. Annette looks out of the window and catches her husband with his lover. The 2 are taking a walk. Hiner smiles at the girl while she blushes and looks shy. They really look like a couple. Our heroine is annoyed by this scene. The man said he rejected the proposal, but it doesn't look like it. She tries to believe he wasn't lying, but how can she trust him? Their whole marriage is just a lie. Right now, she has no idea who the real Hiner is. She looks outside again, and this time the man is staring at her. He quickly looks away and turns to Anelli. Our heroine is upset and leaves the room. She has no idea the man keeps staring at the window. Hiner is looking for that figure, but she is gone. Beside him, Anelli notices and looks annoyed. Our girl has made up her mind. She is going to see Catherine. She calls the woman, but she isn't home. She leaves a message for the lady. She can visit their mansion anytime she wants. She has already informed the guards about her visit. The woman's husband promises to inform his wife. Annette doesn't know what will happen in the future. Since the woman has appeared in front of her, she decides to listen to her. She wants to know what Catherine feels and why she needs to see her. This is her only chance to face her past and remember everything she forgot. Just as he promised, Hiner changes her doctor. The new doctor is a woman called Mila Lauren. Annette introduces herself but doesn't know which last name to use. It feels wrong to use Hiner's name. The man notices and is upset again. Mila promises to change the girl's medication. She has something else to discuss. She wants Annette to start therapy. Our heroine rejects her idea. Mila tries to convince her, even saying the children in school have one. Still, the girl refuses. Annette isn't dumb. She can tell something is wrong with her mind. Sometimes, when she gets too stressed, she begins to doubt her existence. She forgets who she is and everything feels like a dream. Our girl is convinced she is going crazy. But still, she doesn't want anyone to know. Since she is so stubborn, Mila has no choice but to agree. Still, she drops the document behind. The doctor leaves and it is Hiner's turn to persuade Annette. He knows the nobles avoid therapy, but he doesn't want his wife to remain trapped in her mind. He tries to convince her this is just an illness. With the right treatment, she will be healed. Annette doesn't believe him. After all, he once threatened to lock her in a mental hospital. Hiner is annoyed and calls her stubborn. His words upset the girl. She asks if everything she does, including asking for a divorce, is just a stubborn act to him. He keeps treating her like his subordinates. The man has the nerve to look hurt. He accuses her of thinking bad about him. Well, he deserves a bad treatment, but our girl is really innocent. She has always treated him well. The man tells her to forget it and refuses to speak. He orders her to fill the form and leaves the room. Once again, their conversation ends in a fight. Annette is really frustrated. She has to admit, her life seems meaningless now. Catherine Grott has finally arrived. Annette insists on meeting the woman alone and warns Hiner not to let anyone in. Of course, the man refuses, and the couple argue again. She begins to get upset, so Hiner gives in. The guards are going to search Catherine, but he is still worried. He hands Annette his knife for self-defense. If our male lead could see the future, he would throw that knife away. But he can't, and Annette leaves with the weapon. She arrives at the meeting spot and sees Catherine waiting for her. The ladies are really nervous and stand there staring at each other. They try to speak but end up talking at the same time. Now this is awkward. They finally remember there are chairs and decide to take a seat. Catherine is worried about Annette's health, and our girl says she is better. She is surprised when she notices Catherine's belly. The woman is pregnant. Now that is just poking our girl's wounds. We have no idea if Catherine planned it, but her pregnancy reminds Annette of what she lost. She doesn't want to blame the woman, but her brother killed her baby. Now, the woman shows up pregnant and happy. Meanwhile, no one even knows Annette lost her child. The poor girl is filled with pain. She wants to get rid of these nasty feelings, but even if she speaks up, nothing will change. Her baby is gone. Catherine is actually surprised. She thought Annette would be a proud and vain woman. Our heroine wonders why, and the woman reminds her of her identity. She is Marquis Dietrich's only daughter. Annette doesn't blame Catherine. In the past, lots of people might have thought that way. She just never knew. It seems Catherine is here to talk about brothers. She asks Annette about hers, and the girl says she has a few. Except they aren't close. Catherine says she had an older and younger brother. Just like all siblings, they fought many times, but their relationship was good. Her elder brother had big dreams. He graduated from school and got a job at a trading company. He worked hard, trying to impress his boss. He wanted a promotion and did everything he could to get it. But he failed every time. His branch manager was a noble and always stole his projects. Catherine's brother continued to endure until the noble man promoted his own son. Her brother couldn't bear the pain and decided to join the Revolutionary Army. Just like the name suggests, the people there all wanted to change. They had no special abilities or great ideas. They were just ordinary people tired of suffering. Annette can tell what is going to happen next isn't pleasant. She covers her ears and refuses to listen. She just wants to run away. But there is no escape for her. Catherine continues her story. She tells Annette she didn't get involved. She knew what her brother was doing, but he didn't have a special position in the army. He was just at the bottom. Everything was going well. Until the search for the Revolutionary Army began. Many people were captured, and Catherine's brother was one of them. They accused him of planning a civil war and claimed he was a spy for the enemy kingdom. Our poor girl wonders if she really needs to hear this story. Well, she has to because the leader of that investigation was her father. He tortured Catherine's brother. Instead of investigating, he sentenced the man to death immediately. He seemed to be rushing somewhere, like something important had come up. Well, it was important to him. The Marquis was rushing home to attend his daughter's piano concert. Our heroine is finally faced with the past she wanted to forget. She remembers that day. The mansion was crowded with people, and everyone praised her. She was glowing, drowning in everyone's love. Her mother had wanted to capture this beautiful moment in a picture. Her father seemed to be discussing something with his assistant. Because they kept rushing him, he ordered the man to get rid of everyone. All because he didn't want to miss a picture with his daughter. But our girl never knew. She had no idea her happiness was based on the pain of others. Annette wasn't a heartless girl. She knew something was wrong, but when she asked her father, he lied to her. He said someone was making a scene at the gate because they couldn't accept the trial. He made it seem like the person committed a crime and is now refusing punishment. Our heroine was deceived and decided to forget it. She returned home, tired and excited. She couldn't sleep and headed to the balcony. She was still thinking about her concert when she heard a loud noise. She saw a young girl struggling at the gate. Some guards tried to drag her away. At that moment, the two ladies' eyes met. The girl's face was full of pain and she kept crying. Our heroine was shocked by that scene. That moment was too scary. It felt like she was forced to see the girl's suffering. She was so distracted, she didn't notice the man sneaking up until he grabbed her. It turned out to be Ansgar, and our girl was annoyed. He apologized and said he had been calling her name. He wants to see what she is looking at. Annette truly thought the girl disobeyed the trial. She tried to look at her again, but the lady was gone. Only her scarf is left. Our girl remembers the past now. Catherine says her older brother was executed the next morning. She couldn't even make an appeal. Our heroine is in shock and keeps trembling. She doesn't blame Catherine when she says she wished for the royal family's collapse. She finally realizes that the young girl was her, but Catherine waited for the day the royal family would apologize and receive their punishment. Well, she didn't have to wait long. The next day, the Marquis's death was announced. The Revolutionary Army invaded his home and shot him. But the man's death was too simple. Catherine never received her apology. Enough of that sad past. The woman isn't here to beg for her younger brother's life. She knows he did something terrible and deserves to be punished. The only reason she came here is to remind Annette of the past. She wants the girl to know how her older brother died. Still, she doesn't blame our heroine. After all, she never knew what happened. She tells the girl not to feel guilty. Annette is in shock and doesn't reply. Catherine apologizes for her brother's behavior. She prays for the girl's safety and turns to leave. The voices in Annette's head want her to run away, but she knows this is her only chance to repent. Catherine hears a sound and stops. She sees Annette apologizing to her. The girl is crying and keeps saying she is sorry. The woman is relieved because she finally receives her apology. Annette is in despair and blames herself. She never tried to understand anything. She lived in her perfect world and never knew what others were suffering. Only now does she understand they are all the same. She might be a noble, but she isn't different from the commoners. She met with Catherine because she wanted to face her past and judge herself. Now she finally understands the truth. She can't change the past. Hiner is shocked when Annette hands him a petition. She wants David Buckle to be released. The man doesn't understand why she wants to pardon her attacker. He believes Catherine must have brainwashed her. Annette tells him she can make her own decisions. The man is upset. He wonders if she is trying to become a saint. Annette is amused and laughs. She says she can never be one. She just decided to do this. Hiner is stunned to see his wife smile again. He mentions it, and the girl becomes shy. Now things are awkward. The two stare at each other until Annette suddenly apologizes. She tells him to forgive her for everything, even the things she never knew about. She knows he hates her because of her father, but that isn't the only reason. She apologizes for the reasons she doesn't know. The man is amused and tells her not to apologize. Annette sits alone in her bathroom thinking about her life. Even if she insists she is innocent, no one will believe her. Because she was born into the wrong family, everyone believes she is guilty. The girl knows she can't continue to pay the price for her family's sin. She has made a decision. We see our heroine lying in the bathtub looking beautiful, but she seems to be planning something dangerous. The girl knows Hiner wants to take his revenge on her. As long as she lives, he will make her life miserable. He is going to trap her in this marriage and watch her suffer. But she can't endure it anymore. She is tired and broken, so she makes her decision. She picks up the knife Hiner gave her. Since her existence seems to cause pain to everyone, she is ready to abandon this life. From the moment Hiner gave her the knife, she already had a plan. She is going to end her life with it. For the first time, the girl looks at peace. Hiner is in his study. He is still surprised that Annette wrote a pardon letter. He tries reading it, but the handwriting is just too ugly. He compares it with the girl's former letters, and it clearly looks different. The man gets distracted and starts reading her past letters. Our heroine was really a funny girl. She says it is an apology letter, but she scolds him throughout. She calls the jewelries he gave her pretty, but refuses to be bribed by his gifts. She says he has good taste in jewelry and women. She is clearly praising herself. She expresses her love for him. Every time she sees a beautiful dress, she thinks about their next meeting. She imagines wearing the dress to see him. It is such a long letter, but she finally gets to the part where she apologizes. And even then, she does it proudly. Such a cute letter. Even the cold-hearted Hiner is smiling. He admits he also thinks about her. He has totally forgotten he is supposed to hate her. The man remembers and gets frustrated. Those letters remind him of the happy days he spent with Annette. He tries to hide it, but even though their love was a lie, he was really happy. He had prayed that the cruel future would never come. Our male lead suddenly realizes he doesn't hate the girl anymore. But it is too late. Hiner suddenly remembers something important. Annette was never one to apologize. She is so proud she would rather send a letter than tell him sorry. And even those letters would start with a scolding. Yet that woman apologized to him today. The man remembers all the times she tried to harm herself and starts to panic. He doesn't want to believe it, but the woman has changed. Our male lead runs out of the room. He keeps wondering when Annette changed. When did she become this sad woman and lose her smile? Hiner sees some maids and stops them. He wants to know where his wife is. They tell him she was tired and decided to rest. Still, the man feels uneasy. He has a feeling something is wrong. He rushes to her room and calls her, but she doesn't answer. The man opens the door and searches everywhere. He keeps calling her name, but there is no reply. He finally heads to her bathroom and sees a shocking scene. The whole place is covered in blood. Annette lies there lifeless. The maids approach and he orders them to call the doctor. He keeps begging the girl not to leave. The place is in chaos. The maids run around while Mila stitches the girl's wounds. Hiner watches them and remembers the cruel words he said to Annette. He cursed the girl to be in despair and wanted her to lose everything. Since his life was full of darkness, she also had to suffer. But the truth is, he wanted to be part of her misery and sadness. He knows it is twisted, but he must be part of her life. Hiner has a dream. He sees himself in the Rosenberg garden. Annette appears by his side and demands to know what he is doing. He admits he is thinking of her. He remembers the first time they met. The girl assumes he is talking about their first meeting in this garden, but he says he had met her long ago. The scene changes, and a younger Annette is playing the piano. Hiner watches her when he suddenly sees a blue rose. He hears a loud sound and wakes up. The man looks like he is in pain. Several days pass and our girl is still unconscious. Hiner has turned into the night watcher and stays by her side. He feels frustrated when he remembers his conversation with Mila. The woman says his wife's body is too weak. She had barely recovered from her gunshot wound and the miscarriage when this happened. She lost a lot of blood, so her injuries became worse. She will probably take a long time to recover. The woman thinks there is another reason why the girl isn't waking up. She is probably tired of living. Hiner recalls everything. He still can't believe Annette would end her own life. He remembers her as a weak woman, afraid of even the smallest things. She is also scared of blood, so how could she hurt herself? The man is in despair. He suddenly hears a strange voice. A cruel version of him appears and reminds him this was his plan. He wanted Annette to live a life worse than death. Now the girl is so unhappy, she is willing to end her life. In the past, Hiner had prayed for her death and even wanted to kill her himself. Our male lead is reminded of his cruel acts. He admits he tried to kill her. He wanted her gone, but in the end, he couldn't do it. The cruel version isn't worried since things ended up in their favor. But Hiner doesn't want this anymore. This wasn't his plan. He doesn't want Annette to leave him. The hallucination ends and the man starts trembling. The public has heard about the incident, but no one supports Annette. They all believe she is trying to get some attention and pity. The papers call her a nasty woman. Their mansion has been surrounded by reporters. Our male lead really feels like shooting them all. He is still thinking about this when the butler says a visitor has arrived. Someone is here to see Annette. Hiner refuses to let them in and says his wife is still sick. The visitor isn't prepared to leave and wants to meet Hiner instead. Our male lead wonders who this stubborn visitor is. Well, it is Ansgar. Hiner wants to chase him away, but remembers how angry Annette was when he stole her letters. He doesn't want to upset the girl again and decides to see the man. But as soon as he steps into the hall, he is attacked. Ansgar blames him for ruining the girl's life. Ansgar is furious and attacks Hiner. He blames the man for ruining the lives of all the nobles. He expects him to feel bad, but Hiner merely pushes him away. He warns Ansgar to speak carefully. He questions the man, asking why he is here. Well, the answer is simple. Ansgar is here to take Annette away. After this incident, he doesn't think Hiner can protect the lady. Our male lead refuses. He knows Ansgar will take her back to Francia and join the Revolutionary Party. Hiner won't let that happen. He tries to convince the man that Annette has no value. Secretly, he wonders why the Restoration Party is desperate to have his wife. He can think of only one reason. Annette is still young and has royal blood. If she travels to France and marries a noble, they can continue the royal bloodline. Unfortunately, the girl is now barren, so the party's plan is destined to fail. Our male lead wonders how Ansgar will react if he knows the truth. He tells the man he can't let Annette go. The boy becomes furious, asking if Hiner hasn't done enough. Annette has suffered too much already. Our male lead wasn't lying when he said he can't leave the girl. Annette is his reason for living. Ansgar doesn't care about Hiner's feelings. He is going to help Annette file for divorce. The man almost forced her to die, which is enough reason to end their marriage. If they escape to Francia, Hiner wouldn't be able to do anything. Our male lead is furious and says his plan won't work. Well, Ansgar is ready to challenge him. He is going to drag Hiner to court and watch him disgrace himself. He is about to leave, but the man stops him. He asks him if he still loves Annette and wants to marry her. Ansgar reminds him it isn't his business. Our male lead thinks the girl won't be happy in France. Well, Ansgar gives him a harsh blow. The girl might not be happy, but she won't be depressed to the point of death. Major Eugene arrives at the mansion with some documents for Hiner. Our male lead reminds him he is on vacation, and the major apologizes. He notices how stressed the king looks and thinks it is because of Annette. Just like the rest of the public, he's convinced the woman is looking for attention. Our male lead is so furious, he calls the major's full government name. He says his wife really tried to kill herself. She didn't do it for attention. She really wanted to end her life. Hiner tried to ignore the truth, but he finally admits it is his fault. She wanted to die because of him. The man goes to Annette's room, but the place is empty. He remembers Mila saying the girl has been moved to the annex. He isn't used to such an empty space. Our male lead refuses to accept it, but they are all preparing for her death. He needs something to remind him of her presence and decides to search her room. He sees a small bag and assumes it is her jewelry. He opens it, but what he sees are the shells she picked at the beach. Our male lead remembers throwing them away. His little wife must have picked them from the trash can. He is confused, wondering why she did that. He keeps searching, looking for her belongings, but nothing is here. The man starts to panic. He refuses to believe she is gone. He finally sees a small safe and opens it. Inside is Annette's jewelry box and a document from the Pedanias Association. Our heroine was in charge of the committee, but after the revolution, she was banned from work. The man finds her behavior strange. Why does she do things no one would notice? He opens her jewelry box and is shocked to see their wedding ring. That is when he finally realizes the girl had always been planning to disappear. Hiner goes to her room. He keeps looking at their wedding rings. He had never taken his off. Not when he hated her or even when he missed her. He always wore this ring. The man doesn't know what to do. He thinks she isn't innocent, so he can never forgive her. A part of him will always hate her and will continue this revenge. But another part wants to treat her right. He makes a promise. When she wakes up, he will take her on a trip to the beach. He will let her play around and allow her do everything she wants. All he needs is for her to stay with him. Hiner has resumed his duty as the night watcher and is sitting by Annette's bedside again. He has no idea the girl on the bed is about to wake up. Our heroine keeps hearing the sound of the piano. She wonders what is going on and where she is. She finally opens her eyes, but she sees the man she is trying to escape from. The girl is shocked. Seeing Hiner next to her, she clearly looks terrified. The man is stunned by her behavior, but people arrive. Our shocked male lead is forced to the back of the room. Mila is done with her checkup and tells him the girl needs to rest. She advises him to leave the room. Hiner agrees, but outside the door, he falls to the ground. He had always thought Annette would wake up and regret trying to die. He knows how much she dislikes pain, so he assumed she would regret her decision. But he was wrong. The man starts to cry as he remembers the look on her face. The girl was disappointed she was still alive. Hiner isn't wrong. Our heroine is in despair and wishes she didn't survive. She blames herself for being too weak. She probably should have slit her wrists even harder. She wonders why Hiner saved her. Annette wants to be alone, but the maid refuses to leave. They are all worried she might do something dangerous again. She tries to convince the maid she's fine, but the girl goes to call Hiner. Now our heroine is disappointed. Hiner sits beside her and keeps worrying about her health. He had ordered the maids not to leave her alone. Our girl isn't interested in his explanation and asks why he saved her. She tells him his plan had worked. Just like he wanted, her life was already miserable. She wanted to end it all, but as always, the man just has to ruin everything. Hiner is shocked to hear that. He questions her, asking if he should have let her go. But that is exactly what she wants. The man says he doesn't want her to die. Annette finds it funny and tells him not to lie. He must have wished for her end even once. She thinks Hiner is really cruel. He wants her to suffer and remain in misery forever, yet he refuses to let her die. He really doesn't treat her as a human. She tells him this behavior is worse than wishing for her end. Hiner is in despair, but the girl doesn't care. He tries to convince her he never wished for her death. Another day arrives, and our heroine is feeling better. She returns to her room and receives all of Ansgar's letters. She feels upset. She knows things have changed and will never be the same. She is prepared to leave all her good memories with Ansgar in the past. The man she is thinking about arrives. He is still worried about her health, and she assures him she is fine. Well, the man can scold her now. He wonders why she never reached out to him. Our girl apologizes. She didn't want to burden him since she couldn't accept his proposal. The man feels sorry and once again offers to take her to France. He promises to treat her well. All he wants is to make her happy and end her miserable life in Pedania. She can only escape if she leaves with him. He scolds her again, wondering why she chose to die when she had other options. Annette is convinced he just wants her to carry on the royal bloodline. She tells him she is barren. The man is clearly shocked to hear that. She believes she is useless, so she can't leave with him. Ansgar decides to confess and says she is right. He admits the restoration party wants to use her. That was why they sent him to Pedania. However, the man has his own plans. He doesn't care if she is barren. He still wants to take her with him. The girl is really confused and wonders if he has a secret mission. Ansgar starts to blush and says he likes her. Annette doesn't believe him. The people who liked her only loved her status and power. Now, she has nothing to offer him, but the man doesn't need anything. All he wants is Annette. The girl asks if he wants to marry her. Now Ansgar turns into a shy schoolboy. He is really in love with her. He wants to marry her but knows they will have to wait till she divorces Hiner. Still, he is willing to wait. All he wants is to hear her answer. He offers her his hand again and says they should go to France together. Ansgar leaves the room, but he doesn't look so happy. Outside, our male lead is feeling smug and tells the boy not to visit his wife again. Ansgar is offended and wonders what right he has to say that. Well, Hiner reminds him he is currently Annette's husband. Now it is the boy's turn to laugh. He tells Hiner the girl is going to divorce him and move to France with him. Our male lead is sure his wife hasn't agreed. Ansgar believes she will. Anything is better than staying in this hellhole with Hiner. Our male lead is upset and decides to use his final weapon. He tells Ansgar the girl is barren. He expects the man to be shocked, but he says he already knows. Now it is Hiner's turn to be surprised. Ansgar mocks him. He wonders what Hiner was expecting. Did he really think he would abandon Annette just because she's barren? Our male lead is more upset that Ansgar knows their secret. He wonders who told him, but there is only one answer. Still, he refuses to believe it. The boy boasts about his relationship with Annette. He probably knows her better than her husband will. After all, they spent years together. He thinks Hiner's plan to ruin their relationship is childish. Hiner is upset. He reminds Ansgar they spent 3 years apart. Their relationship has surely changed. He doesn't care if Annette agreed to leave. He will never let the girl go. He tells the boy Annette can never leave him. Ansgar is shocked by how crazy the man looks. Our male lead warns him to leave and walks away. The boy finally understands why Hiner kept saying Annette wouldn't be happy with him. He was just trying to ignore the truth. The lady they are fighting for is relaxing in bed, wondering why her hands are cold. She recalls Ansgar's proposal. It would be easy to leave with him, but she doesn't want to burden the boy. He wouldn't gain anything if he marries her. Besides, just imagining her life with him is already stressful. The last person she wants to see arrives. Hiner is here and suggests they take a walk. Annette doesn't argue and dresses up. The man thinks she isn't covered enough and puts a scarf around her. The two can't even look at each other. They step outside, but the man is still worried. He is sure she must be cold and even offers her his gloves. The girl doesn't want to argue, so she accepts them. However, they are way too big. The man is amused. He is feeling happy and decides to take her on a trip. Unfortunately, the girl isn't interested. Still, he keeps mentioning the places they could visit and even makes plans for next year. His mouth probably hurts from saying so much, but the girl doesn't reply. When she does, she simply agrees. Yet, the man is relieved. He believes things are getting better, but the next day, a sharp comb is found in Annette's room. Our heroine is forced to start therapy. She is uninterested, but still attends each session. Hiner tries to talk to her every day, but she has become quiet. She only nods when he speaks. The girl seems to be improving, but every night the man wakes up in fear. He still feels uneasy. He visits her room and sees her sleeping, yet he still feels she is in danger. The end of the year arrives and our male lead prepares a gift for his wife. He thinks she will be very happy. She has always liked surprises and beautiful jewelry. He even plans to take her on a walk. He goes looking for her, but she doesn't open the door. The man feels uneasy. He tries to open the door, but it is locked. Just then, he sees Annette's maid outside. The woman left the girl alone. Our male lead panics and breaks open the door. He sees a heartbreaking scene. His wife has hanged herself. Hiner cuts the rope and saves his wife. But instead of being happy, the girl starts crying. The man tries to question her, but he is also confused. He doesn't know what to do and begs her to help him. But there is only one thing she wants. She wants to end her life. The man finally realizes that he can't stop her. The girl can end her life at any moment and will leave him forever. Hiner doesn't want that to happen and has a crazy idea. He can just lock her up and chain her. If he watches her every day, she won't be able to leave him. But even the man knows that is a crazy idea. Really, he should be the one in a mental hospital. He is confused and wonders if he should divorce her. He decides to let her go. She can travel with Ansgar back to France and do whatever she wants. He doesn't care anymore. All he wants is to see her alive. He is ready to divorce her just so she can live. And he does. The next day, all the documents are prepared for Annette. Our girl signs the divorce papers and she is finally free. The lawyer mentions something about staying longer, but Annette refuses. It turns out to be Hiner's idea as she meets him on her way out. The man holds her hands for the last time. He will let her do whatever she wants, but she has to stay alive. He hands her some jewelry, and inside is Ansgar's card. The couple say their final goodbyes, and this horrible marriage finally ends. Annette has gotten her divorce and is finally free, yet she feels nothing. She has forgotten her promise to Hiner and starts thinking about dying again. She has nothing to live for. The girl makes up her mind and is already choosing which method to use when someone approaches. She looks up and is shocked to see the person. A few minutes ago, Hiner watches the girl leave. He wonders where everything went wrong. From the first moment he saw her, he decided to become her father's dog. All he wanted was to stay by her side and be closer to her. But he knew she could never notice him. He was just a boy from the slums. And so, he decided to change his fate. He became heartless, killing countless people in a bloody manner. And that is why he hates Annette. He had to sacrifice his life and blood just to make her happy. He became this evil creature while she remained happy and innocent. He probably thought it was unfair. The man cries because his misfortune started with her. Everything began on that island. To understand our male lead's pain, we have to go back to the past. In a hidden island, the royal family built a secret military training ground. And right now, a group of trainees are beating an innocent boy. They only stop when a girl arrives and tells them to leave. She looks at the injured boy and feels sad. They have ruined such a handsome face. She also abandons him, leaving the child alone. The injured boy with the handsome face is 15-year-old Hiner. The trainees are gathered for battle. They have to go through another survival test. The game will last for 3 hours, and anytime they steal someone's name tag, they get a point. They must also reach the finish line before the time is up. It sounds like a fun game until they start sharing knives. There are no rules, so everyone can do what they want. Hiner is worried about his friend Ethan. He remembers their conversation last night. The boy was annoyed when he saw the injuries on Hiner. For some reason, the graduates keep bullying his friend. They talked about the test and made a promise. They will ignore each other during the battle. Their other friends have also agreed, and they vow not to attack each other. The commander prays for their safety and the battle begins. The training camp isn't as innocent as it looks. The royal family are secretly training spies and informants, and most of them are orphans. The royal family claimed they were cleaning the streets, but they were just gathering the children. Our male lead lost both his parents and grew up in an orphanage. He was forced into the island at the age of 12. He has 7 years until he graduates, but first he has to survive till then. Hiner is violently doing his mission when he is suddenly attacked. Those graduates are here to bully him again. The boy quickly hides. The bullies don't take him serious and even start arguing. Hiner knows he can't defeat them. They are just too many. He tries to think of another way, until he notices they have killed his friend, Ethan. Our male lead is upset. The two friends had planned to survive till the end. The bullies continue mocking Hiner, certain they can defeat him. They even suggest he might have used his body to get in here. Now Hiner is really angry. He had been holding back all this time because he didn't want any attention. But not anymore. While the boys are murdering themselves, their leader is relaxing on a hill. It turns out to be Marquis Dietrich, Annette's father. His assistant praises him for improving the facility, but the man isn't happy. He thinks a comfortable environment will make the boys lazy. He orders the assistant to only keep a few children alive. Feeding so many people is just too expensive. It turns out, the survival test they are taking is just a way to reduce their numbers. The assistant promises to get rid of more of them. The Marquis wonders if there are any outstanding students in the batch. His assistant keeps talking about Benjamin and praises him. That is our male lead's bully. The assistant thinks he is the best student, but he is going to be disappointed. The battle finally ends, and the people who survived climb the hill. Dietrich isn't interested in them and thinks they are all average. Wait until he sees our male lead. He looks shocked and immediately asks about him. The assistant introduces Hiner and says he is also strong. But something even more shocking happens. The assistant tells Dietrich the news. Benjamin and 4 other members of the graduating class are all dead. They were all killed by one person, Hiner Valdemar. Back at the training camp, Hiner's friend can't believe he killed 4 seniors. He thinks the boys' injuries are worth it. He wonders how Hiner did it, but our male lead is used to violence. Even in the orphanage, he suffered from it. Hugo thinks he was getting revenge for Ethan. Well, the reason doesn't matter. No one will mess with Hiner from now on. He makes up his mind to follow the boy around. The two are having fun when their instructor arrives. He has good news for Hiner. The boy can now use the instructor's clinic. Also, the Marquis has invited him to the Rosenberg mansion for lunch. The instructor says they will leave tomorrow morning. Immediately he leaves, Hugo starts jumping around. He shoves Hiner, totally forgetting the boy is injured. He can't believe his friend will visit the Marquis' mansion. Usually, only the top students from the graduation class are invited. Hugo is excited and imagines Hiner's future. His friend could join the Marquis' special operations team. Our male lead is also excited. He feels a bit sad when he thinks of Ethan. The boy's only dream was to join that unit. That night, our male lead couldn't sleep. He has heard about the Rosenberg mansion and how beautiful it is. This might also be his only chance. The royal family assigns missions that the regular army can't handle to the students from the training camp. Because they have to be undercover, the students cannot join the regular army. The Marquis' Special Operations Unit is the only exception. Joining that unit is every trainee's dream. The day of the visit arrives and Hiner is speechless. He keeps looking around and can't believe such a beautiful mansion exists. It is time for lunch and our male lead is stunned again. This is his first time seeing such expensive food. When he looks up, there is a painting of a beautiful girl right above him. The boy is really living life. The Marquis notices the boy staring at the painting. Hiner feels ashamed and explains he has never seen something so beautiful. Dietrich doesn't look down on him. After all, even nobles are amazed by it. He calls the drawing sacred and says when he first saw it, he couldn't close his mouth. Apart from his mansion, only the royal palace can afford a ceiling painting like this. Hiner is still amazed and keeps staring at it. He never believed in divine creatures before, but this painting seems so real. He thinks it is really sacred. The boys are done with lunch and the Marquis invites them to his garden. His assistant calls him over for work and he has to leave. The supervisor says the boys will leave at 4. Until then, they can take a walk in the garden and admire the flowers. Our male lead is certainly different. Instead of admiring the flowers, he searches for a spot to sleep. We won't blame him since he is still injured. He finds the perfect place. Someone had put a bench under the tree. Hiner is ready to take a nap when he suddenly hears some music. Well, now his sleep is gone. The boy recognizes the song. He once had a music box, and this was his favorite song. He traces the sound and arrives at the mansion. He sees an open window, and when he looks in, he spots a young girl playing the piano. From the moment he looks at her, Hiner is smitten. She looks so different from him. She is beautiful, like a sacred, noble human. She looks just like that painting. The boy is distracted and steps on a tree branch. The sound alarms the girl and she rushes to the window. But it is too late. He has escaped. Hiner runs all the way back. He keeps thinking about the song he just heard. It reminds him of the music box he was given at the orphanage. That was his first time having such a gift, but someone just had to ruin it. Some bullies destroyed his music box. Hiner knew it was already useless, but still kept it with him. The boy finally stops and starts to wonder why he ran away. He really wanted to speak to her and praise her performance, but he couldn't. From that moment onwards, that beautiful girl in white became the focus of his entire life. Even when training for missions, Hiner keeps thinking about her. She is the only daughter of the Marquis, and her dream is to become a pianist. He feels inferior. They were born into different worlds. She's a noble, and he is just a commoner. She carries the royal blood while he is just one of the many agents in the training camp. Hiner is distracted and gets injured during training. He goes to the hill to be alone, but someone just has to disturb him. Hugo arrives. He has noticed Hiner's strange behavior. The boy keeps making mistakes. Like a logical person, Hugo thinks Hiner has gone crazy. Our male lead distracts him and shows him his wound. Hugo wonders why he didn't go to the clinic. Does he plan to get an infection and die? Hiner is really regretting his choice of friends. He thinks Hugo is noisy, but the boy makes it worse and forms a flute. He teaches Hiner how to make one, and the two have fun playing it. Our male lead is terrible at it, and Hugo laughs at him. Hiner is disappointed. He really wants to hear that song again. He just wants to go back to that moment and watch the girl play one more time. Our male lead seems to be on steroids. Every test they take, he is always the best. The other trainees all gossip about him. He is now in the spotlight. During their assembly, Hiner is awarded for being top of the class. He struggled to be at the top and did everything he could, just so he could see that girl once again. And he does. He is invited to the Marquis' mansion again. After lunch, he sneaks off to find Annette. Hiner never had any ambitions. He didn't even want to succeed. His only wish is to watch the girl perform again. Every time he hears her play, he imagines a different world between them. In that world, he can hold her hand and dance with her. There, they can fall in love happily. The next day, the camp doctor calls Hiner to her office. She has noticed his changes and is concerned about him. The clinic seems to be giving them some drugs to control their moods. Hiner doesn't refuse. Before he leaves, the woman warns him not to overwork himself. She has worked at the camp for 12 years and has never seen a trainee have a good ending. She says having desires could ruin him. Hiner doesn't understand her, but the next day, the doctor is found dead. We all thought the survival battles were the worst, but the camp has come up with a new test. The biannual torture training. Hiner is tied up and blindfolded. He has to endure a harsh beating while a man mocks and insults him. He calls orphans like Hiner beggars who leech off society. He thinks they need to be re-educated, and that was why they were sent to the training camp. Only then can they become useful members of society. Our male lead is brainwashed. He regrets being born this way. He wishes he was born into a respectable family. The man convinces him the only way he can become useful is to sacrifice his body for the nation. He has to use his strength to protect the country. He keeps talking, but Hiner is thinking of Annette. If he were born into a better family, he could speak to her without fear, and she would treat him kindly. Hiner imagines that world. The girl would ask for his name and care about his injuries. He could tell her he likes listening to her performance. He would show her his music box and she would play the piano for him. In that world, it would just be the two of them. The torture ends and the boy once again goes looking for Annette. He thinks her life is beautiful. She can play the piano anytime she wants. No one would feed her strange drugs or torture her. She might not even know the training camp exists. He imagines how she would feel if she knew. She would probably be angry and feel pity for him. Hiner has convinced himself the girl is some divine and noble goddess. 4 years have passed, and just like Hiner wanted, he has joined the special task forces. Dietrich throws a banquet and welcomes them into the team. Hiner is upset. He has just received a new mission and doesn't know when he will return to Pedania. He must prove his loyalty, even if he has to risk his life. If he shows how useful he is, he can join the regular army. He once again visits Annette, but this time he brings her some flowers. He wants to improve himself just so he can get closer to the girl. If he becomes a better person, he might finally be able to approach her. He would introduce himself and she would finally notice him. Maybe then, he can stop hiding to watch her. He drops the flowers on the window and whispers her name. Just hearing it makes him blush, and he runs away shyly. Our male lead carries out his missions and 5 years pass. He returns to the Rosenberg mansion with his friend. Suddenly, he sees Annette watching him. Hiner stops and stands there shocked. Jackson has also seen her and admires her beauty. Just by looking at her, you can tell she is different from them. Hiner agrees. He still feels some regret. After returning from his mission, he found her piano room empty. She had moved to the inner part of the mansion. Hiner wonders if his struggles are worth it. How can he stand beside the most noble woman in Pedania? Right now, the only time he sees her is when he gets lucky. Hiner stands there daydreaming until Jackson touches him. He feels embarrassed. He had totally forgotten the man was here. He tries to cover up and says he was just looking. Jackson teases him, wondering if the strict Hiner has fallen in love. He believes the man might have a chance. Annette is known to like handsome men and doesn't even care if they are nobles. And she is so stubborn, even the Marquis can't control her love life. Hiner still feels inferior. He thinks she will only date people from the middle class and not a commoner. Jackson encourages him to join the regular army. That way, his status will change. Meanwhile, our male lead is going through all the stages of jealousy. He wonders how many men Annette has met and if smiled at them or held their hands. When he realizes what he is thinking about, he feels pathetic. Hiner heads to Franca on another mission with his team. They gather in a cave and complain about their hard life. They are all playing around. Well, except for Hiner. He still has that serious look on his face. His team members start to tease him. They remember the mysterious drug they were given to suppress their emotions. It seems to have worked on Hiner. The man isn't bothered by their jokes. One of the members says she has a lover. The rest wonder why she is dating. She can't even get married. Jackson thinks their instructors should ban relationships. After all, it is a form of weakness. The rest of the team protests. Who wouldn't want to have a cute lover? Anne asks Hiner if he has someone he cherishes. Jackson is convinced the man is just a block of wood. They want to know how Hiner would treat his lover. Will he cherish her, or is he the possessive type? It seems Hiner has always had a twisted sense of love. He sees no use cherishing his partner. Since she is precious to him, others would also be interested in her. She might even get snatched away. His friends aren't satisfied and ask what he would do if she is taken away. The man says he will destroy her. Only when she is ruined will others stop wanting her. Now that is twisted. His friends are all spooked and call him crazy. Hugo defends him. After spending years on that island, no one will remain sane. Hiner also thinks he might be broken. The more he thinks about Annette, the more miserable he becomes. He is so in love with her, yet she doesn't notice him. She doesn't even know he exists. The deeper his love for her, the more miserable he becomes. Hiner starts to regret these feelings. He wishes he never met her in the first place. Our male lead's mission has gone wrong. He is locked in a prison cell. There was a traitor in their team and all the members were captured. Only Jackson could escape. Hiner trusts the man and believes he will bring others to save them. He just has to endure till then. His enemies arrive and begin to hit him. Hiner is determined to survive and return to Pedania. He endures the torture. But even though he is used to violence, it becomes hard. Another day arrives and he is dragged to the interrogation room. The leader of the enemy team interrogates Hiner. He wants the boy to believe his teammates have revealed their secrets. Our male lead isn't dumb. He knows the man is lying. If his members had confessed, he wouldn't be looking for more information. The leader admits he is right. Each member says a different thing. The man knows they work for the Marquis and Hiner wonders how he found out. He believes the traitor must have told him. Our male lead already has a suspect. Hiner is tortured again. The leader has a nasty plan. He promises to spare Hiner if the boy tells him something random, but he will apologize to his teammates and act like he already confessed. He has to convince them to also spill the truth. Our male lead refuses. He believes Jackson will inform the Marquis and return to help them. He just has to endure till then. He refuses to speak, but the leader doesn't rush him. He even gives him time and leaves to torture the rest of the team. Several days pass, and Hiner is dragged back to the interrogation room. This time, he meets Hugo. The two men have similar swollen faces. They even joke around. Hugo is tired and tries to persuade Hiner to confess. Our male lead is shocked and wonders if his friend was threatened. But Hugo isn't. He knows the enemies are going to kill them. Instead of enduring this torture, he wants to confess and have an easy death. Hiner tries to persuade him to hold on, but the man is tired. He already found out who the traitor was. It was Jackson. He managed to escape because he was a spy for Franca. Hiner already suspected him but refused to believe it. Hugo wonders why Jackson betrayed them, but they would never know. The man has really given up. Before the guards drag him out, he thanks Hiner for saving him during the training camp. He is really grateful. Several days pass and Hiner still refuses to speak. The leader is frustrated. None of the members have the full information. Two have even died. They need Hiner's confession to find out the full truth. He keeps promising to spare Hiner's life, but we know that is a lie. Our male lead is going crazy. He wants to live and isn't going to die this way. He calls the leader desperate and refuses to speak. If he confesses, he will be killed by the Marquis when he returns. He is determined not to talk until the end. He starts provoking the leader and insults him. He wants them to keep torturing him. He can only survive if he refuses to confess. The leader is angry and attacks Hiner. Beating him up isn't enough, so he calls his men over. Our male lead is in despair. It feels like his body is about to shatter. Everything hurts. He wonders if he should just give up like Hugo did. Well, I think he should because the leader plans to use a hot iron to crave his chest. Still, Hiner refuses. He will endure everything and return to his beloved. Then, he can finally stop hiding under the window just to look at her. He will stand in front of her and call her name. Throughout this torture, Hiner's only hope is Annette. Hiner is locked up in his cell after the torture and the soldiers mock him. Our male lead is having a fever. Everything hurts so much, but he refuses to give up. He is determined to return to Pedania and meet Annette. He wonders what the girl is doing. While he is suffering and almost dying, she must be sitting at her piano peacefully playing her music. Or maybe she is sad, because of some little mistakes. Hiner knows it isn't her fault. She was born into a life of privilege, so he can't blame her for being innocent. He is sure no one told her the truth. He believes she will be angry if she finds out. To him, Annette is as innocent and pure as her music. She should be cherished by the whole nation. Our male lead doesn't die. He spends years locked up in the prison of Franca. Suddenly a war starts in the country. The prison is destroyed and the prisoners escape. Hiner is among them. Some of his team members survive, but they are too weak, so he kills them. In the end, he makes it out with Anne. The girl doesn't protest when he points a gun at her. After all, she leaked their country's secret. They have been trained to kill traitors. The girl accepts her fate and Hiner puts her down. He knows she is right and all traitors must die. But still he has his doubts. The country he is fighting for has never been a home to him. He doesn't know what is right or wrong anymore. All he wants to do is to survive. He must return to Pedania and see his beloved. Hiner manages to escape and returns to Pedania. The Marquis throws a party to welcome him back. Our male lead has even been promoted to captain. Hiner survives, but the things that were special to him now look ordinary. Even the banquet doesn't excite him. The Marquis is very happy and keeps praising him. Our male lead has finally joined the royal army. The Marquis heard about the mission's failure, but never expected Hiner to make it back. He even handed over Franka's secrets. Because of him, Dietrich has been promoted. The man is pleased and decides to also promote Hiner. He makes him a lieutenant. Our male lead isn't excited and just thanks him. The Marquis keeps flattering him. He knew the boy was going to be great right from the training camp. He remembers how Hiner killed 4 seniors at the same time. He heard that there was bad blood between them. Hiner doesn't know what that means and says they just attacked him. The Marquis notices that Hiner isn't sociable and asks about his relationship with his teammates. Hiner says they weren't close, which the Marquis likes. He doesn't want the boy to get attached. He thinks emotions make people weak. He claims he was upset after hearing about the failed mission. He wanted to do a prisoner exchange, but thought the people weren't valuable. After all, Hiner was the only one who survived. He thinks the others should be grateful they died for the country. They were just nameless people picked from the streets. Hiner doesn't argue and says the man is right. He returns to his room but keeps thinking about those days of torture. He isn't stupid. He can tell the Marquis never planned to save them. They risked their lives to help the country, but the man never cared. He had abandoned them right from the start. The team had ended up dying in a foreign country without a grave. But Hiner doesn't want to think about that. His mission was successful, and because of him, the Marquis got promoted. He thinks everything is over, but it has only just begun. Our male lead wakes up feeling restless. After breakfast, he decides to take a walk in the garden. He is so distracted, he doesn't know when he reaches Annette's practice room. But it is empty. The man feels bad. He wonders why he even came back. What will he do if he ever meets her? He recalls the torture he faced and feels inferior. He might have achieved his goal, but his future looks empty. Hiner decides to leave, but fate plays a trick on him. The girl he has been waiting for all his life finally appears. Annette Rosenberg is here. The man starts blushing. He looks so red, Annette becomes worried. He seems to have frozen. Meanwhile, Hiner is wondering if he is still asleep. Or maybe he is hallucinating again? He looks at the beautiful face and realizes she is real. Annette is convinced the man is sick and is about to find a doctor. Hiner finally recovers and claims he was thinking. The naive girl feels bad for disturbing him. He assures her she didn't and she smiles. Hiner is smitten and also smiles like a dummy. Someone return our strict boy. The two start talking. The girl calls him a soldier and Hiner is shocked. He thinks she knows him, but he is just overreacting. Annette guessed from his uniform. The man doesn't reply and just stares at her. Our male lead is actually nervous. He has no idea what he should say. He has imagined this moment so many times in his head. But now his mind is blank. Hiner thinks of a great idea. He can just confess his feelings. He tells the girl he has been to her father's mansion several times. She doesn't know him, but he has liked her for a long time. Hiner is already blushing, but the girl isn't even listening. She sees her father approaching and rushes up to him. Hiner is annoyed and turns to look at the intruder, but he is shocked when he sees Annette talking to the Marquis. She scolds the man, but he laughs and calls her his only daughter. Hiner looks terrified. The Marquis notices him and wonders when the two met. The girl says she saw him walking in the garden. She stands beside the Marquis, and they look very similar. Hiner is stunned when he realizes the truth. Dietrich introduces the boy to his daughter, but our male lead is no longer excited. Meanwhile, the girl is happy to meet him. She has never seen an officer as young as him. The Marquis praises Hiner and says he returned alone from the Munich operation. Annette has heard about the mission from her father and is pleased to finally meet him. Our male lead is upset when he remembers his teammates. He mentions them, but Annette doesn't seem to care. She says they sacrificed their life for the country. She tells him she feels sad, but the next moment she asks about his commissioning. Hiner remembers her father's cruel words. He watches them laugh while his whole world has just been destroyed. The girl has no idea what he is thinking. She congratulates him and leaves with her father. Hiner watches her smile with the man. Our male lead is heartbroken. He tries to run away, but her words keep repeating in his mind. She showed no sadness for the soldiers who lost their lives. She didn't respect their sacrifice. He had always wondered why she played the piano, but now he realizes. She only did it for her father's status. She never cared about the soldiers' sacrifices. Hiner had worshipped her as a saintess, but now he despises her. In his fantasies, she is different from the Marquis. She would listen to his story and understand his pain. She would even be angry at the injustice he faced. But now he realizes she is the beloved daughter of the Marquis. She can never understand him. In Hiner's eyes, she is now an ordinary noblewoman. He feels resentful. Because of her, he had wasted his life, endured the torture, and even sacrificed his teammates. Hiner's love becomes twisted. He hates Annette and vows to make her pay for ruining his life. Hiner begins his revenge. During his escape from Franca, he had managed to find their secret documents. He found out a revolutionary army had been formed in Padania. He had planned to hand the document over to the Marquis, but now he changes his mind. He wants to destroy Dietrich. He burns the document and writes a new one. This time, he exposes the Marquis' secrets. He even delivers the letter to the revolutionary army. Hiner isn't helping them. He just wants Annette to fall into despair and lose everything. He will watch her suffer in misery, and then he will join her. He wants her life to be filled with darkness just as his was. She must pay for ruining his life. Hiner's plan is working. After his commissioning ceremony, he becomes the Marquis' closest aide. The man even throws a banquet for him. Hiner should be happy. He is no longer the poor orphan boy and is now a promising young officer. Yet in front of the Rosenberg family, he still feels like a lowly commoner. He decides to punish Annette for his inferiority. The girl is the most beautiful and popular woman in Padania. The men waiting to speak to her could form a queue. There is no man she can't have. For some reason, Hiner believes she must be playing with the men's feelings. He decides to do the same. He will become part of her many suitors. He begins his plan and follows Annette to a piano concert. He pretends to be surprised when they run into each other. Hiner knows she is interested in him and he will use it to his advantage. He will pretend to be the type of man she likes. He asks her out on a date and Annette happily agrees. But Hiner isn't satisfied. He doesn't want her to like him. He needs her to fall deeply in love with him. The two go on a date. Annette is impressed with Hiner. They talk about books and they seem to have the same taste. She probably thinks he is just perfect, but she doesn't know it is all a plan. Hiner has learned everything about her, down to her favorite books, and even the artists she likes. Annette doesn't know this and praises him. He seems different from all the men she has met. They were just like her father, all soldiers who looked down on literature. She is more interested in men like Hiner. The two keep going on dates. Hiner has studied all of Annette's past partners. He knows her favorite food and places. He pretends to be the type of man she likes. He acts kind and romantic. He always takes care of her and shows off his love for literature. All he wants is to steal her heart. Hiner never felt any regret. After knowing Annette is just a sweet and kind woman, he becomes even more determined to ruin her. His own life is filled with violence and misery, so he has to destroy her beautiful life. If Annette knew what the man was thinking, she would run across the continent. But she has no idea. The two are on another date and she notices how distracted he is. The man claims to be overworked and stressed out. The girl feels sorry for him. Since today isn't their regular meeting day, she tells him to leave. Hiner refuses and insists on seeing her. But the girl isn't pleased with his flattery. He panics and is afraid his plan would be ruined. Annette finally speaks. She wants to know why Hiner has never confessed his feelings. The man is surprised by the sudden question, but the girl has always been thinking about it. The two have been going on dates for many months. Yet, Hiner has never asked her to officially date him. She suddenly asks if he doesn't like her. Hiner panics when she says he is playing with her feelings. He is afraid she will figure out the truth and quickly denies it. Still, the girl refuses to drop the topic. Hiner wonders why he never confessed. Deep down, he never believed Annette could like him. She is the only daughter of the powerful Rosenberg family. Her parents would never allow her to marry a commoner. They must have arranged a fancy marriage for her. The man finally tells her he is afraid. He is scared she might reject him. The girl is quiet and Hiner begins to panic. He wonders what she is thinking. She probably regrets meeting him and thinks he is pathetic and worthless. Well, the man is just overreacting. He looks down on himself for being insecure and refuses to explain to Annette. What he doesn't expect is the girl to confess her feelings. She says she likes him. Hiner is shocked. The girl says she was just teasing him. She believes he will never play with her feelings. Since the man is too scared to ask her, Annette tells him to date her. The man is silent and she thinks he is surprised. Meanwhile, Hiner is thinking that his plan is successful. But for some reason, he doesn't feel satisfied. The girl is still waiting for his answer. Hiner knows he should reply quickly, but he feels upset. Even now, Annette expects him to love her. She has been raised with love from everyone. He doesn't believe she really likes him. She can easily replace him with any of her favorite things. Still, Hiner can't deny his feelings for her. He pulls her close and his face turns red when he confesses his feelings. He tells himself to be satisfied. She is the most noble woman in Padania, while he is just one of her many toys. Annette isn't pleased that she had to confess first. She throws a tantrum and decides to take back her confession. Hiner is amused by how cute she is. He hugs her and confesses his feelings again. He asks her to date him, and the couple's story begins. Years pass, and the two are finally getting married. Hiner looks like a normal groom, but his mind is twisted. He still thinks he is one of Annette's toys. But to him, she is his whole world. He hates how unfair it is and wishes she was nothing special. Even as they say their vows, his mind is filled with evil thoughts. He wants to destroy this pure woman and take away her happy world. Maybe then he will finally be everything she needs. The priest pronounces them husband and wife. Hiner's revenge is about to begin. He wants to drag Annette to the very bottom. He will make sure she experiences all the darkness in the world. He is afraid others might want her, so he will have to destroy her. Maybe then his love for her would vanish. The years pass, and the revolution begins. The monarchy is overthrown, and Hiner becomes the supreme commander. In the year 720, the couple finally divorce. In a small town, a huge argument is happening in a fruit shop. The man insists on reducing the price while the woman refuses to give in. Finally, they reach an agreement. The man keeps staring at the lady and is certain she looks familiar. The girl panics, but she is saved by a baby's cry. She returns and tells the man to wait for the owner. He wants to know how she met the owner since she only moved into town a few months ago. The girl says she is from the capital. The man is certain he has seen her before. Just as he is about to recognize her, someone interrupts them. It turns out to be Catherine. She immediately turns into a mother hen and scolds the boy for making her friend uncomfortable. She chases him out of her shop. We finally see the girl he was talking to, and it is our heroine. Back to a few months ago. Annette has just divorced Hiner and has nowhere to go. She is sitting alone when an angry Catherine suddenly appears before her. The woman starts questioning her. When she finds out Annette has nowhere to go, she grabs her luggage and tells the girl to follow her. Our heroine never refuses. She doesn't even argue when they get on a train. She does think about it, but she is too tired to care. If punishing her will make Catherine feel better, she is prepared to endure it. Thankfully, the woman has no plans to sell her off. The capital has become too busy, so she is moving to another town. Annette remembers the woman's brother was arrested and thinks it is her fault. The neighbors must have gossiped about Catherine after hearing the news. Annette feels sorry for the pregnant woman. The two arrive at the town and Catherine shows the girl her room. She calls it small, but that room is bigger than my living room. Annette doesn't want to stay here and tries to leave. However, Catherine refuses to let her go. She knows about the girl's plan to end her life. She doesn't give the girl a choice and just arranges the room for her. And so our heroine ends up staying. Catherine returns to her fruit shop while her husband Bruno drives their carriage. The woman never asked for rent, making our heroine uneasy. She would help her out by managing the fruit shop. She did try to cook, but the end product was a burnt pot. Our girl quickly abandoned that idea. She assisted Catherine when Olivia was born. She had thought the woman was quiet, but she turned out to be a big gossip. The women would talk about everything, but they never spoke about the past. They buried the truth about her brother's arrest and the miscarriage. They never spoke about Annette's suicide. There was still a wall between them, but our heroine finally had the quiet and peaceful life she wanted. Catherine's husband returns from work trembling from the cold. He expects a warm hug, but what he receives is his wife's scoldings. He tries to defend himself, but Catherine doesn't listen. He feels sad and wonders why she doesn't scold Annette too. The man wants to get some love from his princess, but the baby is asleep. Somehow that becomes his fault too, and Catherine blames him for being too sleepy. Our heroine is eager to save her life and offers to help Catherine. The woman tells her to focus on the apples she is peeling. She is just happy Annette is getting better. Before she would peel one apple for an hour. The family are having dinner and Bruno mentions how restless Pedania is. The other countries are at war and Pedania might soon join them. Our heroine trembles when she hears this. She has read the papers and even the public supports the war. Catherine doesn't like the idea and is worried her husband will join the army. Bruno refuses. He still has to take care of his family. Catherine is still worried and thinks they might be forced to enlist. Bruno reminds her the people overthrew the monarch. If they are forced to join the army, they will surely protest. The man realizes his mistake when he looks at Annette. Our heroine sees the man suffering and assures them she's fine. She no longer feels sad when she hears about the past, but the couple always seem to worry about her every time. Annette is about to go to bed. She kisses the chubby baby Olivia and leaves the family alone. She returns to her room but is bothered by the thought of war. She has no idea what to do if the war starts. The girl feels pathetic. She was the wife of the supreme commander, yet she knows nothing. She thinks about her ex-husband. If the country goes to war, Hiner would be the main commander. She had felt anxious earlier because of him, but the girl is determined not to care about him anymore. Before, all she could think about was him, but she is slowly starting to let go. Since the world could forget all about her, then she can also forget Hiner. Our heroine decides to go shopping. Although she still wears a hood, she feels better now. There were days when she refused to leave the house. terrified that someone would recognize her. She felt ashamed to be living in Catherine's house and even wanted to end her life again. But Bruno and Catherine would watch her closely. They showed her love and helped her heal. Annette visits a fabric store. She can finally sew again and plans to make some clothes for Olivia. But her trip is ruined when she hears some girls talking about the war. Franca has invaded their country and the people are all annoyed. They all want Pedania to join the war. They don't forget to curse the former king and praise Hiner. He has formed an alliance with Waitress and they believe he will lead them to victory. The girls start gossiping about the commander's marriage. They don't care if he just divorced and want him to remarry the famous Anelli. It seems the two are getting engaged. Annette refuses to listen any longer and runs out of the shop. She keeps trembling and wonders why nobody told her. Annette is already in despair, but it is about to get worse. A boy appears and throws some papers into the crowd. The girl is shocked when she reads it. Franca has taken over Lapland and has completely destroyed their army. The people are in disbelief and start a protest. They all want Pedania to join the war. Annette finally realizes the truth. The war has finally begun. The soldiers are having a meeting. Well, it is more like an argument. Half of them want to go to war. Franca plans to enter Pedania through the neighboring countries and they have to stop them. The other soldiers don't support the idea. Their country has no resources now. If they go to war, they will surely lose. Hiner watches the men argue. They look like they are about to beat each other up, so he finally interrupts. He thinks they are focusing on the wrong things. Instead of worrying about the other countries, they have to focus on Axlania. The country produces the largest food resources, so Franca will surely attack them. If Axlania refuses, they will take over the country. The soldiers are worried, but Hiner isn't concerned. He doesn't plan to help Axlania until they ask for his support. His plan is to build his country's defense. He has made up his mind. Pedania will join the war. Hiner writes a letter to announce the war. He feels overwhelmed. With just one word, he forces the whole country into war. The man is tired and starts thinking about his ex-wife again. He feels frustrated. He can't forget about that woman. He remembers her saying she loved him and it makes him upset. Hiner never believed in her love. He thinks he was just a toy to her. He made her lose everything and became all she had. Still, she only treated him as a lifeline. He has always felt inferior and didn't believe Annette could like him. The man thinks he is going crazy. He wonders how he is supposed to fight a war when all he thinks about is his ex-wife. He never wanted to be the supreme commander. All he wanted was to stand by Annette's side. But now the girl is gone. He wonders what she was thinking when she left his house. He really wants to know if she is happy. Just as Hiner said, Franca attacks Aslania. The country seems to be struggling, yet Pedania refuses to help them. The government announces they will be joining the war. Annette is sewing a dress. She enjoys her peaceful life because she knows it will soon end. Just then, Catherine returns, but she looks stressed. But when Annette asks about it, she says she closed from work early. She looks like she has been through a battle. Our heroine has no idea what is bothering the woman. She has been staying at home for some days and plans to go out tomorrow. Catherine immediately jumps up and says she can't. She tells her the city is dangerous and claims it is because of the war. But Annette can tell something else has happened. Although the woman keeps denying it, our girl knows something is wrong. Someone must have recognized her. She really isn't bothered and tells Catherine not to hide the truth from her. The woman finally confesses and blames that little gossip Hans. Annette remembers him. He was the guy who kept bothering her in the shop. It seems he finally recognized her. Our heroine isn't surprised. She had thought the rumors would start earlier. She wonders why Catherine keeps helping her. There is no way she can repay the woman. She plans to keep her distance and advises Catherine to deny their relationship. She doesn't want the woman to get into trouble. Catherine is annoyed and wonders why Annette is doing this. This method will only ruin her reputation. But the girl doesn't care what people say about her. She just wants their family to be safe. Catherine is frustrated by her indifference and starts scolding her. Bruno would be so happy to see this. Annette is also shocked and wonders why the woman is angry. She is the one people would gossip about, so why is Catherine so upset? The woman warns her not to go out and leaves the room. Annette is touched and makes up her mind. She calls her lawyer's office. When she divorced Hiner, she left everything behind and only took the divorce papers. She even abandoned the properties and the alimony. Girl, why? Finally, she comes to her senses and decides to accept the payment. But it isn't for her. She is going to give it all to Catherine. It seems our heroine is planning on leaving again. The lawyer finally replies. He has spoken to her ex-husband and her alimony is still valid. Our heroine is already feeling happy, but there is bad news. The other side has a condition. The lawyer cannot receive the payment. Annette will have to collect it herself. Our heroine is in shock. The lawyer tells her the people will arrive at her house next week. He He has no way to stop them. Another day arrives and Catherine's shop is still closed. She refuses to tell Annette the reason. Our heroine watches her breastfeed the baby and wonders if it hurts. The woman says it does sometimes. It will be more painful when the baby starts teething. She tells Annette to help her make the baby food in the future. The girl doesn't reply and instead asks Catherine to help her. She wants the woman to meet her ex-husband's people and receive the payment. Catherine thinks it is a simple task and doesn't refuse. Annette is finally happy and laughs again. She is really grateful to her. Our heroine is hiding in her room when she hears the carriage arrive. She believes the messenger is here and decides to take a peek from her window, but what she sees frightens her. Can someone tell her why her ex-husband is here? Annette looks out of the window and sees her ex-husband. The poor girl looks traumatized and quickly hides. She thought Hiner would send his assistants and was prepared to avoid them all. But why did the big boss come? He wasted 3 hours traveling here. He even abandoned the capital after declaring war. She wonders why he came. Is he curious about where she lives and her life after the divorce? What if he doesn't want to hand over the alimony? Now that particular thought is scary. The girl is too nervous and goes to the door to eavesdrop. Once she receives the package, everything should be over. So why are the people outside still talking? She hears the door slam and knows the meeting is over. She rushes to the window and sees Hiner leaving. Just then, the man suddenly turns around and looks straight at her. The girl quickly hides. For some reason, she feels really nervous. She is worried about the man and notices he looks thin. She is annoyed by this feeling and reminds herself Hiner is now a stranger. He has never loved her, so she only needs to take care of her own heart. The war continues to grow. Aslania finally requests for help and Pedania sends over their army. They manage to stop Franca from taking over Aslania, but the enemy has already occupied half of the town. Soon, rumors begin to spread. People claim that Franca will attack Pedania next. The men rush to enlist while the price of food increases. Soon, ordinary families start struggling. Catherine's shop hasn't had any sales, and even Bruno can't find work. Annette is holding a check which she plans to give to Catherine. With this amount of money, their family can live well for a lifetime. Well, Catherine certainly needs it. She is calculating their income, and right now their future looks really bleak. Annette appears then, like her personal angel. She has noticed that Catherine stays up late these days. The woman is really suffering. There are no customers during the day, so she always ends up sleeping in the shop. Annette decides to give her a little gift. The woman is surprised and wonders if today is her birthday. She's very happy when she sees the little dress Annette has made for Olivia. The girl says it is her first time making a dress, but Catherine doesn't believe her. It looks so good. The surprise isn't over. Annette hands her the bag, but when the woman sees the check, she looks upset. She questions her, and Annette confesses it is her alimony. She is giving it all away to Catherine. The woman wonders why she is doing this. The girl says it is a thank you gift. Catherine has done so much for her, so she also wants to make the woman happy. Well, Catherine refuses to accept it. She says nothing she has done is worth such a huge amount of money, but Annette doesn't think so. She tells the woman the truth. If Catherine hadn't found her that day, she would be dead. She had already thought of different ways to end her life. Catherine is already terrified to hear this, but there is more. Annette decides to tell the woman her story. After their first meeting, she had tried to kill herself several times. She doesn't want the woman to feel guilty because that meeting freed her. She was already tired of living such a shameful life. In the past, she tried to separate herself from her father. She wanted to convince everyone she was different. She was a good person born into the wrong family. But her meeting with Catherine changed that. Annette never spoke up because she didn't want the kind woman to worry. Catherine says she isn't kind, but that is hard to believe. After all, she took in our heroine. The lady insists she isn't nice. She is about to confess, but Annette interrupts her. Our heroine will be leaving the next morning. She has decided to join the army and become a military nurse. Catherine is frightened and frustrated. She tries to talk Annette out of it and reminds her she has no experience. Our heroine isn't bothered. There will be a training camp for them before they are sent to war. She tells Catherine most of the volunteers are civilians like her. The woman tries to remind her she is different, but Annette says she isn't. She is now the same as everyone else. That is the world the revolution has created. Catherine still looks unwilling, so our girl says the truth. She still hates her life and even wants to end it. She regrets ignoring everything in the past. She could have looked after others or even watched her father and judged him. Instead of ignoring Catherine that day, she could have listened to her and helped her brother. Our heroine always had those choices, but she ignored everything. She regrets it now and wants to become a better person. She asks Catherine to help her. For the first time, the woman cries and hugs her. Annette is happy. From now on, she is going to choose the best path for herself. Annette arrives at the train station. She had refused Catherine's offer to accompany her and insisted on going alone. She wrote a letter for Bruno and is very happy the man isn't around. He might have tied her up just to stop her from leaving. The women say their goodbyes and Annette leaves. She arrives at the station and joins the army transport train. The journey begins and our heroine is finally at peace. Hiner is having a nightmare. He is surrounded by darkness and there is no escape for him. His whole life has been filled with fear and terror. He desperately searches for his light and a door opens, but when he goes through, he sees Annette. The man finally realizes she is his light. He tries to reach her, but the flowers stop him. The next time he looks up, the girl has a gun and is about to end her life. He tries to stop her, but it's too late. Our male lead wakes up in fear. He has fallen asleep in his office and once again dreams of her. He wonders when his obsession will end. Even lighting a cigarette makes him think of her. He remembers asking Anne why people love. She said love makes you a better person, but Hiner thinks that is nonsense. Winter arrives and the war continues. France has formed an alliance with other countries called the Axis powers. Together, they attack Padania. The Axis aren't playing and send over 800 aircrafts. They have 700,000 soldiers and 2,000 military tanks. They are determined to destroy Padania. Half their troops are assigned to attack Padania's defense fortress. The rest head into the forest to lay an ambush. The Padania commanders are relaxed, thinking the Axis army won't be able to enter the thick forest. They decide to focus only on the people attacking their fortress. But Hiner can tell something is wrong. Just before the battle starts, he changes their plan. He has gotten information from his spies and finds out the enemy has entered the forest. Hiner decides to attack first. He lays an ambush on the path the Axis army will take. His plan works. The Axis commanders thought the Padania army would focus on the defensive fortress. They didn't expect the ambush and were forced to escape. In the end, Padania wins the first battle. The citizens are excited and start celebrating. Hiner contributed the most and is praised by everyone. The newspapers shower him with different titles. They are just short of calling him the savior of the world. Meanwhile, the man himself is about to faint. His assistant has just delivered terrible news. His ex-wife has been spotted on the battlefield. She is serving as a military nurse in the front lines. Hiner is terrified and orders the man to investigate. He needs to know if the rumor is true. Hiner is amused. He thinks the rumors are ridiculous and decides to call Catherine. He is first assaulted by Olivia's cry and almost throws the phone away. Bruno eventually answers and almost faints when he hears the commander's voice. Our male lead is tired of the dramatic family and asks to speak to Annette. Bruno says his wife has all the information and goes looking for her. Hiner refuses to believe the rumor. The front lines are very dangerous. Every day bombs are dropped and bullets are fired. The Axis army is slowly getting closer. He could believe it if she was at the rear. But going to the front lines as a war nurse is like signing your death certificate. The thought terrifies Hiner. Catherine finally picks up. Hiner is anxious and demands to know the truth. He has heard the rumors about Annette and wants to confirm them. Since he hasn't heard the news from Catherine, he doesn't believe it is true. But it is. Catherine tells him Annette isn't at home. The girl is at the front lines, just like the rumors said. Hiner is terrified. He yells at her, asking why she let Annette go. She should have stopped her or reported to him, but Catherine isn't a pushover. She reminds him it is Annette's choice. She had been reporting the girl's condition to Hiner only because she was scared. She was afraid Annette might do something dangerous and harm herself again. Hiner thinks going to the army is dangerous. He is convinced Annette is trying to die again. But he is wrong. Catherine tells him the girl wants to live. Now Hiner is confused. He had always looked down on her. To him, Annette was just a weak woman who couldn't survive without wealth or power. She neither had the courage to live or die. He had kept her trapped beneath him, thinking she was powerless. He thought she would just waste her life and didn't expect her to choose a difficult path. But she did. Several times, she chose to end her life. He still can't believe she would go to the battlefield. Catherine tells him he never knew the girl. Annette is someone who takes responsibility for her actions. Even now, she wants to become a better person. Catherine is convinced Hiner never loved her. She begs him to treat Annette like a human being. He has to respect her choice if he really cares for her. Hiner is in pain. He knows he isn't normal. His heart has been twisted and is full of filth. There is no way he can love anyone. Back to a few weeks ago. Hiner visits Catherine's house but fails to meet Annette. He thinks it is a waste and regrets coming here. But he is also glad. At least he got a chance to see her face before he leaves for the battlefield. It was just a brief look, but in that moment he prayed time would stop. Hiner is satisfied as long as he can see her. He remembers the past. During his mission, he approached Anne, the love expert. He wanted to know what love feels like. The girl teased him, asking if he had fallen in love. But Hiner didn't know. He had no idea what love is, so he asked Anne to help. She told him lovers enjoy spending time together and everything feels beautiful. Love makes them a better person. But there is also a downside. It makes you do foolish things. Hiner remembers it now. He doesn't know about the rest, but the last part is very true. At the front lines, a nurse is going around. She sees a man asking for water and rushes to help him. She doesn't leave and sits beside him. Even when he coughs up blood on her, she doesn't care. Who could this saint be? Well, it is our dear Annette. The man begs Annette to stay and keep him company. The girl doesn't refuse. She even holds his hands, though they are filthy. She feels pity for him. The man has inhaled poisonous gas during the war and doesn't have long to live. He tries to explain to Annette, but he keeps coughing. The girl wants him to relax and decides to tell him a story. The man is touched by her kindness and asks for her name. After hearing it, he dies. Annette says a prayer for his soul. We see why Hiner was worried. The field hospital is always filled with the smell of blood. Just today, 7 medical staff were killed. In the front lines, death can arrive at any moment. The workers are full of despair and try to hold on to normal life. They have to pretend like everything is normal, just like now. The nurses are gathered in the supply room. A nurse called Haley is about to be discharged. She plans to head home and get married. The rest of the nurses are envious and all encourage her to have fun. The girl proudly shows off her ring. Annette watches her and is reminded of her own ring. She might have taken it off, but the mark still lingers. Another nurse arrives with more clothes and the girls all complain. The work feels endless. They are distracted and don't notice a cloth is about to be ruined. Our heroine saves the day, but her uniform is torn. Her suicide mark is revealed and Annette quickly covers it up. The other ladies don't seem to notice and offer to help her, but Annette refuses. She's afraid everyone will find out what happened to her. She doesn't want them to pity her. She just wants to live a normal life. Evening arrives, but our girl is still working hard. Someone suddenly calls her name and we see a group of soldiers. A handsome man offers to help her out. She seems to know him and calls him Ryan. She tries to refuse his help, but he snatches the bag. Please, he has to show off how strong he is. The boy remembers she doesn't like smokers and quickly throws away his cigarette. But our heroine isn't bothered. She was even able to get over her fear of blood. Although she did throw up the first time she saw it. The man keeps praising her, making Annette happy. Everyone here knows her identity and always avoids her. Ryan is one of the few people who doesn't care. The man mentions her noble background, which makes her laugh. He might be nice, but he is too straightforward. The man asks Annette if she would like to move to the rear. The girl has no plans of leaving and advises him to go. He teases her, asking if she wants to get rid of him. The poor girl is flustered and explains. She just wants him to be safe. The two mess around happily, but Ryan is really worried. Another battle will soon begin, so he wants her to leave the front lines. Annette insists on staying. Serving in the army is her way of seeking forgiveness for all the people her family harmed. This is the only way she can atone for her sins. She has realized that staying here can reduce the guilt. Ryan guesses she is trying to atone for her father's sins. He thinks the girl has done enough. Everyone here is amazed by her. Annette thinks he is just trying to comfort her, but the man is serious. When the camp was being bombed, Annette never feared for her life. She rushed out to get more supplies and treated them all. They all survived thanks to her. Ryan doesn't care about her past. The present Annette is an amazing person, and he wants her to stop blaming herself. Our girl is touched and thanks him. She is really grateful. Annette is going about her work in camp when she hears someone calling her name. She can tell it is a stranger. No one in camp calls her by that name. The man introduces himself and says he is a reporter. He wants to interview Annette. Our girl panics. She knew she couldn't hide forever, but she still feels scared. She has trauma from dealing with reporters in the past. She rejects the man's offer, but he keeps pushing her. He wants to know why she came to the army. He claims to be a good guy, yet he refuses to leave. He tries to force her to speak to him. A few nurses are already watching. Annette keeps rejecting the man and says she doesn't want an interview. She tries not to blame him, but she still hates the reporters. The man is convinced she is trying to restore her image and offers to help her. No matter how hard she refuses, he doesn't stop. This is clearly harassment. The girl begins to have a panic stack. She yells at him to stop. She wonders why no one ever listens to her. Even after coming here, people still try to control her. She starts to blame herself, wondering why she is so weak. The man still refuses to leave and keeps forcing her. The nurses can't bear it anymore and come to her rescue. They attack the reporter and tell him to leave. They scold him for causing a disturbance and even threaten to report him. Annette supports the idea and asks the nurses to help her. The girls are happy and promise to assist her. A few days pass and our heroine is still as busy as ever. She makes supplies and takes care of the injured. She's so tired, she wishes she had 2 bodies. But even that won't be enough. Things seem normal, but there is a small change. The other nurses have become more friendly. Our girl is happy. Her life has finally become stable. But just when things are looking good for her, she receives some bad news. She has been transferred to the rear. Annette is in disbelief. The front lines need more people, yet she is being sent to the rear. It doesn't make sense. She asks the officer for an explanation, but the woman has none. This was an order from above, and our heroine will have to leave tomorrow. Annette is upset and wants to know who gave the orders. The lady can only tell her it was from the military. Our girl leaves, but she already has a suspect. It has to be the nasty Hiner. He must be afraid her presence will cause a disturbance. But she changes her mind and decides not to blame him. Maybe the reporters wrote an article about her, causing the commanders to move her. The girl is distracted and doesn't notice Ryan till he calls her. He is ready to chase away all the evil reporters. Unfortunately, there is none and the boy can't show off his skills. She tells him about her move to the rear and it turns out the boy is also leaving. Ryan is very happy to be going with his favorite person. He wonders why she changed her mind. She tells him he didn't. It was an order from above. The boy is also confused and wonders why she is the only one being sent away. This matter seems fishy. Just like her, he already has a suspect and asks about her relationship with Hiner. He is sure it is the man's order. Annette doesn't think so. Things are over between her and Hiner. They haven't even met after the divorce. Right now, they are just strangers. Ryan is so happy to hear this, he starts blushing. He doesn't care about Hiner anymore and starts laughing wildly. He is about to go crazy from happiness. Annette ignores him and says a prayer. The war is about to begin again, and the Axis plan is to invade the mainland. She says a prayer for the people left. Now she has to prepare to leave. Annette is ready to leave, but she is stopped by the other nurses. They have heard about her move and have come to see her off. They know how hard she has worked and all hug her. They say a prayer for her and wish her well. Annette is touched by their prayers and also wishes them good fortune. Our girl finally arrives at the hospital in the rear, and it looks so different. Everything here is clean and in good condition. The soldiers aren't at the point of dying, but they can't fight anymore. But the work doesn't bother Annette. What she hates is the murmuring. Everywhere she goes, people gossip about her. They hate her presence because it makes them uncomfortable. They even doubt her ability. Annette already expected some resistance, but it still doesn't feel good. She has to start over again in a new place, and it makes all her previous efforts look useless. She decides to bury herself with work and forget everything. But even that causes trouble. She has a new patient with an injured leg. She offers to clean his wound, but the man refuses. She reminds him his bandages are dirty. If they are kept on, his injury would get worse. Still, the man keeps rejecting her. He looks at her face and quickly recognizes her. She is the Supreme Commander's wife. The man immediately becomes violent. He thinks Hiner sent her here to bribe him and refuses to listen to her. Annette just wants to help him, but he thinks she is going to cut off his leg. He becomes violent and scratches her face. He keeps cursing her while the other soldiers try to restrain him. Annette isn't offended. While the soldiers hold him down, she quickly cleans his wounds and changes his bandages. The man believed she was trying to cut his leg, but when she finishes her work, he feels ashamed. The other soldiers notice the wound on her face and are horrified. It is bleeding! Annette doesn't care and quickly runs out. The people keep staring at her, making her uncomfortable. She returns to her room and can finally rest. She's so exhausted. Days pass and the hospital receives some big news. The Supreme Commander is going to visit their camp. The place becomes busy and even the soldiers are forced to clean. But even then, they still have the energy to gossip about Annette. Our girl can hear them talking. They wonder why she isn't bothered, but she really has no energy to care. That afternoon, the man they are all waiting for arrives. Annette has just stepped out of her ward when she sees him. But the girl pays him no attention and just walks past him. Annette leaves the man and immediately finds a place to hide. She's really stressed out, but it isn't the work that makes her tired. She hates the atmosphere in the hospital. It is draining all her energy. The girl thinks her spot is safe, but a soldier catches her hiding there. He is worried she might be hurt, so she quickly assures him she is fine. She stands up like an old grandma and plans to leave. Yet, the boy keeps staring at her. She becomes curious and asks why he is here. He says his name is Justin, and he is Martin's friend. Remember that mean soldier who almost injured Annette? He is here to apologize for him. He explains the man's condition to her. Martin is mentally unstable. He is suffering from trauma and has become aggressive. Annette guesses his illness. The man must be suffering from shell shock. Justin tells her it was caused by the war. Martin was trapped in a cave with the rest of his comrades and watched them die. Some were injured, but there was no proper treatment. He even had to watch one of his commander's legs be cut off. The man became terrified and feared the same thing would happen to him. Annette understands the man's suffering. Justin is impressed by her. He had heard rumors about her, and everyone said she has no experience. They claimed she was just here to improve her reputation. He had believed those rumors at first, but after meeting the girl, he found out it was all fake. He apologizes to her for his friend's behavior. Annette is confused. This place is messing with her head. She doesn't even know who she is anymore. She accepts the boy's apology, which makes him happy. It seems she has gained another fan. Annette returns to the camp, but just as she steps inside, she is stopped by a soldier. He tells her someone wants to meet her. Of course, our heroine can guess who it is. She accepts the invitation, but it isn't like she has a choice. If she refuses, the man will keep asking. She decides to follow the soldier. She will use this chance to cut things off. The man leads her into the forest, and just as we get scared, they arrive at the church. He tells her to go behind it. The girl keeps thinking, wondering what Hiner wants to say. The couple finally meet after a long time, and they both look stunned. The man sees the injury on her face and tries to touch her, but the girl avoids his hand. He keeps asking about the wound, but she tells him to ignore it. Hiner acts surprised to see her here, but the girl isn't a fool. She knows he ordered her move. The man has been caught, but he still tries to deny it. Annette reminds him the military wouldn't be interested in a civilian like her. Hiner can tell she is unhappy. Annette doesn't hide her feelings. She wants to return to the front lines. Hiner really can't understand her. He has no problem with her joining the army, but why must she stay at the front lines? He reminds her of her promise during the divorce. Annette has no idea what he is talking about. The man is hurt and says he only divorced her because she promised to live. Well, our girl never agreed to that. She has even forgotten about it. Hiner looks like he is about to cry. He feels like a fool for holding on to their memories. Hiner seems hurt and regrets holding on to her promise. Meanwhile, Annette just wonders what is wrong with him. She doesn't care if he remembers her promise. To her, they are now complete strangers. She doesn't have to explain her actions to him. She tells him he has no right to control her life. Even if she plans to die, it is her choice. But our girl has no plans to end her life and wonders why the man is so worried. Well, Hiner has heard about her heroic deeds. She ran around even when bombs were dropping. She clearly doesn't value her life. The girl feels creeped out. Just how much does he know about her? She thinks her life has nothing to do with him. He can't stop her from dying for her country. Well, Hiner can't stop her from dying, but he can stop her from being a field nurse. He thanks Annette for her troubles. He doesn't listen to her protests and orders her to leave the camp the next morning. He wants her to go back to the capital. The girl still refuses, but the man suddenly starts begging her. He isn't trying to control her. He just wants her to be safe. He almost starts crying as he begs her to listen to him. Annette is surprised by his behavior. It doesn't seem like he is trying to control her, but she still isn't impressed. She wishes the man could treat her like his military staff or even a human being. If he did, he would stop trying to control her life. She says she has no plans to die and asks him to leave her alone, but the man is convinced this is her new way of seeking death. Annette is frustrated. Arguing with him is pointless. She tries to leave, but the man suddenly starts accusing her. He thinks she never loved him or cared about him. He had given her good times and even ruined her life, yet his actions meant nothing to her. Annette reminds him he also treated her like nothing. The man says he felt something for her. He hated her and wished she would also hate him too. But just like always, she treated him like nothing. Annette wants to explain but decides to give up. She hides her pain so their relationship wouldn't be completely ruined. She tells the man she doesn't want to see him again and tries to leave. But her words make Hiner go crazy. He violently grabs her. He feels sorry afterwards and apologizes. She had promised to live, but now it looks like she is trying to die again. He regrets letting her go. Hiner has an idea, but it is a terrible one. He wants them to return to the capital and start again. But his words only disgust the girl. He promises to give her the life she wants, but she pushes him away. She believes they are already over. She has no idea why he is acting this way, but she has nothing left to give him. She really doesn't want to see him again. Their relationship only brings pain. She wonders why he called her over when he can just order her to leave. She knows Hiner. He might ask for her opinion, but he will do what he wants. She can tell he still wants to talk, but she refuses to listen to him. She reminds him to leave her alone and returns to the camp. Hiner is in so much despair he can't even walk properly. Every time he sees Annette, it feels like a dream. He can't tell if she is fake or real anymore. He wonders why it is so hard to let her go. She is just an ordinary girl, so why does his life feel empty without her? He feels like something important is missing. He knows he shouldn't have come over, but he was desperate to see her. She kept saying she has no plans to die, but he doesn't believe her. Her past attempts have traumatized him. He knows how dangerous the battlefield is. Someone as fragile as Annette shouldn't be able to endure it. He thought she would be tired. She would give up and immediately leave with him. But now he realizes she doesn't want him anymore. Hiner wonders why everything changed. He takes off his gloves and we see he is still wearing his ring. He doesn't know what he wants, but he isn't willing to let her go. It seems he is really broken. He tries to take off the ring, but at the last moment he gives up. He can't let her go. He doesn't care if their relationship brings pain. He has endured a lot of torture. If his life is going to be full of misery, he would rather spend it by Annette's side. He will keep waiting for her just like a dog. Maybe one day his owner would turn back. It is Annette's first Sunday at the rear camp and she decides to attend the church mass. She never believed in God before coming to the battlefield. But now she keeps praying to him. She reaches the building, but it reminds her of her meeting with Hiner. She refuses to think about the man and goes inside. She thinks she will find peace here today, but the source of her troubles shows up right next to her. Annette is shocked to see Hiner beside her. The prayers begin, but all her attention is on him. She doesn't think he is stalking her. This is the only church in camp. She tries to convince herself she doesn't care, but she keeps thinking about him. The man doesn't believe in God, but ever since he was young, he attends the mass. She is confused until she remembers he grew up in the training camp her father ran. Dietrich believes in God. He must have forced the trainees to attend the mass. Annette has never thought about Heiner's past. She refused to think about why he hated her. She just assumed he disliked her because of her father's mistakes. But what if he had other reasons? She had never tried to understand him or ask about his past. She was afraid it might be related to her. But now she becomes curious. What could have happened to him? Annette is afraid and doesn't want to know. The mass ends and the girl steps out of the church. Somehow she bumps into a man's broad chest. She is about to apologize only to realize it is a familiar face. The sweet Ryan is here. Our girl smiles, happy to see someone she knows. She even hugs the boy. She wonders why he is here, but he came to find her. After arriving at the rear, he never saw her again. He knows she attends church and decides to rush over. Annette is sure he must have heard terrible rumors about her and now feels awkward. Ryan notices the injury on her cheek and is immediately horrified. She tries to calm him down and says it is just a work injury. The two get really close as the man tries to look at the wound. He is thinking of defending her, but suddenly notices how close they are. His whole face turns so red, I'm afraid he might get a nosebleed. He rushes to move away and bumps into someone. He doesn't look back and quickly apologizes. He even admires the man's height. He tries to move Annette away, but she keeps looking behind him. Ryan finally turns around and sees a scary sight. Hiner is glaring at him. The boy screams so hard he has to get muted. We can see the black aura of jealousy all around Hiner. Our poor Ryan is about to be devoured. Hiner starts questioning the boy. He won't stop until he knows all of Ryan's ancestors. The boy says he has been in the military for 6 years, and Hiner immediately mocks him. Promotions happen faster during the wartime, yet Ryan is still a sergeant. The innocent boy has to apologize. Annette can tell the man is bullying Ryan. He even asks about their relationship. The poor boy has been answering like a loyal dog, but is stunned by this question. They both stare at Hiner in shock, but the man isn't ashamed. He even repeats his question. Poor Ryan is shocked by Hiner's question, but he still has to answer. Annette watches him bully her friend and is upset. She tells him to stop, but Hiner says they are just talking. Annette refuses to stay here any longer. People will surely gossip if they see her with Hiner, so why is the man causing trouble? Our male lead can't reply, so Annette immediately leaves. Ryan is confused, but decides to follow his friend. Hiner is unhappy just watching them. Annette thought Ryan would be upset, but the boy is excited. He just met the Supreme Commander. He thought he would have to wait 100 years, but he finally met the man. He even spoke to him. Annette is relieved the boy is so innocent. He is still talking about Hiner and calls him scary. Annette apologizes for her ex-husband, but Ryan isn't upset. He is sure Hiner was the one who ordered her move. Annette can't hide the truth and admits it was him. For the first time, Ryan doesn't look happy. He wants to know if her feelings for Hiner have changed. Our heroine still thinks they are strangers, but Ryan is sure the man still has feelings for her. Annette refuses to believe it, but anyone can tell Hiner still cares for her. He moved her to the rear and immediately rushed over, pretending he came for an inspection. He even tried to bully Ryan. Only the blind wouldn't see the truth. Well, our girl is the blind one. She tells Ryan their relationship is complicated. Hiner feelings for her are negative. The boy doesn't know their story, but he is sure Hiner still likes her. It was too obvious. Annette becomes curious, but he refuses to explain to her. He says only men can notice the difference. Our girl reminds him he isn't the most observant person, and the boy cries in pain. He tells her he was having a showdown with Hiner during their meeting. Annette is frustrated. She tells him he can date the man since he understands him so much. The poor boy is frightened and says he would rather run to the battlefield. He finally makes the girl laugh. Annette understands what Ryan is saying, but she can't trust Hiner. He is someone who can act out the smallest look. He pretended to love her and acted like he had lingering feelings. That look of regret? He deserves an Oscar for his acting. He's just trying to deceive her just like he did before. Hiner is hallucinating again. He imagines himself on the battlefield. He had been on many missions as a spy, but he had never fought as a soldier. Watching his comrades die, he wonders what could be at the end of this hell. And then he sees her. Annette steps out and Hiner's world becomes bright again. She has always been the focus of his entire life. She is the only thing he desires. Hiner comes to his senses. He is watching Annette again. He used to wish she would appear on the battlefield and treat his wounds. He never expected his dreams to come true. The girl really ran to the battlefield. He starts daydreaming again. He wonders what would have happened if they had met here first. He would be an ordinary soldier and she would be the nurse who treats his injuries. He would follow her around like a dog and even take her on dates. He regrets meeting her in those fancy clothes. She seemed so noble and beautiful, making him inferior. If only they were just two ordinary people. But Hiner knows these are useless fantasies. He is frustrated and decides to return to his camp. All he is doing is wasting time. He will send Annette back to the capital and return to the battlefield. The man is about to leave when he hears the nurses screaming. He turns around, only to see his beloved has fainted. We see the letters Catherine writes to Annette. She regrets letting the girl go to the front lines. She should have tied her up and stopped her. She scolds her for being stubborn, but we can tell she is concerned. She promises to teach Olivia how to say Annette's name. She really misses the girl and orders her to return home after the war. In her next letter, she prays for the girl's safety. She has news for her. The boy who exposed her identity is Bruno's younger brother. He has joined the army. He will be in the rear, so she isn't too concerned. She starts going to church just to pray for Annette's safety. The last letter is full of happiness. Annette wrote her a reply, and she is happy to hear about their victory. Our heroine told her about Hiner's visit, but the woman isn't surprised. She knew he was going to do something after that phone call. She really wants Annette to come home, but she knows the girl is stubborn. She prays they send her to the rear. She just wants the girl to be safe. Our heroine wakes up wondering what happened to her. One minute she was looking at supplies, and the next moment she fainted. She finally looks around but finds out she is in a strange room. It doesn't look like a hospital ward, so it must be an officer's private room. The girl tries to leave, but when she steps outside, she sees her greatest enemy. Hiner is here. While she is shocked, the man rushes over like she is a beloved wife. He mentions why she fainted, and it is a really long list. Let's just say the girl really needs to rest. She tries to be stubborn, but the man drags her back to bed. Annette refuses to stay, afraid some rumors will spread. Hiner assures her he brought her here secretly. She shouldn't worry because nobody saw them. He orders her to rest, but the girl is about to cry. She doesn't want to see him anymore, yet he keeps disturbing her. She is disgusted by his behavior. Hiner doesn't care at first, but he soon becomes upset. He couldn't just leave her after she fainted. Besides, no one in the hospital treats her well. Annette blames him for that. She wouldn't be so stressed if he hadn't taken her from the front lines. Hiner reminds her the place is dangerous, but she doesn't care. Staying here, listening to rumors and seeing Hiner makes her crazy. She wonders if the man just wants to watch her suffer. Hiner is in so much pain, but he doesn't want to fight with her. She reminds him they wouldn't be arguing if they didn't meet. He has the nerve to ask why they fight, and Annette finally explodes. He was the one who ruined her life, yet he pretends to care about her. She knows he is just trying to complete his revenge, so why is he acting like he cares? Hiner says he wants to fix everything, and she is the one being stubborn. She finds it funny. He had once mocked her for not thinking about others. Now, she will spend the rest of her life trying to understand people. Her words make him upset. He remembers those miserable days and tells her she will never understand. Annette knows she can't, but she is willing to try. Hiner is hurt. Even now, she isn't thinking about him. She never understood or hated him. Everything he did was meaningless. In the end, he still couldn't enter her heart. But he was wrong. Annette had loved him. She refuses to hate or understand him because it will only hurt them. She tells him to stop. If he continues, he will only destroy them both. But Hiner refuses. He still believes her love was a lie. Well, maybe it was because what she loved was fake. She never knew the real him. Hiner thinks that is just an excuse. Even after she found out it was all fake, she never tried to know the real him. She preferred to live in her fantasies. But he is wrong. Annette knew everything was a lie. She knew he had never loved her, but she was afraid to face the truth. Once she did that, she would have nothing left. She wouldn't be able to live anymore. She starts crying because it is a struggle for her to live every day. So why does he keep making it hard for her? Hiner is in despair. He doesn't know what he wants from her anymore. He hugs her, begging her not to cry. But he is about to cry himself. This love only makes him miserable. Annette is frustrated. Hiner's hug feels warm and familiar. She hates to admit it, but she still wants him. She wonders when this twisted love would end. She remembers her philosophy teacher's words, "Only death desires nothing." Will this twisted love continue until she dies? Our girl refuses to let that happen, so she pushes the man away. Hiner decides to tell her his story. He has visited different battlefields and seen the destruction justice brings. He might have joined the Revolutionary Army and even become the leader, but he isn't a good person. He never cared about justice. He treated Annette unfairly and blamed her for his misery. Maybe that is why everything was taken away from him. Hiner has lost all the people he loves, but he is unwilling to let Annette go. She is all he has, so she must remain alive. Annette is surprised. She can hear the sadness in his voice and wonders what happened to him in the past. She wants to know if she was part of it and what she means to him. But it is too late. Things have changed and there is no turning back. Before she can speak, the man says he is removing her from her position. He claims it is temporary, but he is planning to send her to another region. He even wants to keep her trapped here. Annette is annoyed, but the man makes a vow. After this, he wouldn't interfere in her life. They will become complete strangers. There seems to be a hidden part of Catherine's letter. After hearing about her ex-husband's visit, she thinks Annette can't forget the man. She might not love him, but he is always on her mind. Catherine doesn't think this is wrong. She sees Annette trying to forget and wants her to stop. Some memories can't be erased, so the girl shouldn't blame herself. Catherine just wants her to be happy. Our heroine begins her retirement life. After Hiner's order, she was moved into a small room inside his house. Annette is sure people would gossip, but she is just too tired to care. She spends her days sleeping and reading. I also want this life. But since her absence is supposed to be a secret, she isn't allowed to see anyone. Her only visitor is the annoying Hiner. Today, he has brought her breakfast, but it is just some dry bread and soup. Even the Supreme Commander seems to be suffering. Annette knows she shouldn't be complaining, but the food is really terrible. Hiner can tell she is being picky again. The girl didn't expect him to notice, but he knows all her habits. If she is annoyed or doesn't like the food, she becomes picky. The girl thinks it is normal, but Hiner calls her sensitive. She is annoyed and says he is ignorant. She even used to eat food that had gone bad and would endure the taste. Hiner wonders why she never complained. The girl was afraid he would think she was picky. They were dating, so she wanted to look good in front of him. Hiner is stunned. Back then, he was desperate to win her heart, so he was on his best behavior. He was afraid he would upset her, and one mistake would ruin their relationship. He always thought he was the nervous one, and never knew Annette also felt that way. He tries to convince himself she is lying, but he can't stop smiling. Well, it turns to a frown when she says she wants to meet her friend before she leaves. He even denies her request. Our girl is stunned, but he covers it up by saying it is a secret. She doesn't give up and plans to send a letter instead. Hiner becomes upset. He guesses it must be Ryan and asks if she plans to marry him. Annette is surprised by the sudden question and says they are just friends, but Hiner can tell the boy is interested in her. The girl knows but pretends not to notice. The man advises her not to marry a soldier who only cares about war. Well, Annette never thought of that. Hiner keeps asking, desperate to know her plans after the war. He says she can't stay with Catherine forever. Everyone already knows her face, so her only option is to remarry. He sounds like a jealous ex-husband. Our girl has to remind him they are now strangers, just like he said. She is annoyed by his behavior and decides to eat in her room. Hiner is left alone. A few days pass, and Annette notices the camp has become lively. Everywhere seems tense, and she wonders what is going on. She hasn't seen Hiner for days and can't even leave the room. She decides to sew some clothes. Just then, someone knocks, and she's happy to hear Hiner's voice. She invites him in, and the man appears with some books. He sees the scissors in Annette's hands and becomes terrified. He throws the books away and grabs the weapon. Hiner looks traumatized. Hiner is terrified when he sees the scissors, while our girl is just confused. He finally notices the clothes on the bed and realizes he overreacted. The girl explains she borrowed the scissors to mend her clothes. The man scolds her for not telling him, but she thinks it is ridiculous. How can she ask the Supreme Commander for some scissors? She knows why Hiner is scared and assures him she isn't suicidal anymore. Well, the man doesn't believe her. He changes the topic and hands over the books he brought. She asks why he brought them over and he says to read. Annette is frustrated. It isn't like she is going to eat them. The man is still as dumb as ever. He could just admit he brought them because she was bored. Still, it makes her happy. But as they say, there are no free meals. Hiner hands over a document and asks Annette to decode it. It is a musical sheet, and he says even experts couldn't identify it. Annette only takes one look and can tell something is wrong. It is an arranged version of a symphony, but it is mixed with other musical pieces. It would be strange if anyone could recognize it. Hiner keeps urging her to look closely and find some information. But the girl doesn't know what she is looking for. She knows it is classified, but Hiner needs to be specific so she can find the truth. The man finally explains. A few days ago, the enemy's aircraft crashed into their territory. This musical sheet belonged to the pilot. Annette finally understands why the camp was noisy. Hiner says they have checked the other documents, but no one has noticed anything strange about this sheet. It looks ordinary, but Hiner thinks there might be something wrong. Our heroine immediately becomes nervous. How can she decode a document even the military finds hard? Well, she decides to do her best. And indeed, she notices something. A certain pattern keeps repeating. Hiner notices her writing and says they have already done that. But he has to let our girl cook. She uses the musical scores from different countries and immediately finds a pattern. The notes spell the name Pasala. Hiner is shocked. Pasala is an island on the Black Sea that connects all their supply lines. It is also their major aircraft base. The man is anxious and tells Annette to keep checking. This time, he needs to find out a string of numbers. Annette doesn't notice anything and offers to keep looking. The man promises to bring the document back tomorrow. He praises her, making her smile. Well, she isn't happy for long. Because she has been exposed to military documents, her suspension has been increased. She won't be traveling anymore. Our girl wails in agony. The black-hearted man says they should have breakfast together and even steals her clothes. He ignores the girl's protest. Before he leaves, he laughs happily. Our girl is amazed by his smile. The next day, Hiner appears with the clothes and Annette starts sweating. They are all sparkling. She finds out the man did it himself and it makes her happy. They have breakfast and Hiner admits his soldiers shot the aircraft down. They found out it was carrying secret information. The girl is interested and wonders if they were encrypted. Hiner says they are. The decoding team hasn't rested for days. Annette is happy. Now they just have to decode the document and find the information. Hiner also shares the same plan. But first, they have to decode the musical sheet and find the hidden numbers. Our girl is nervous again. She doesn't know about decoding. Yesterday was just pure luck. Hiner notices her fear and tries to calm her down. Annette is touched by the man's words. She finally understands his position. He might have been an orphan, but he fought to become the leader of the Revolutionary Army. He is a legend in Padania and is the country's hero. Whatever he says is law. The girl feels inferior. She stopped playing the piano years ago and doesn't even know how to compose. Hiner keeps praising her skills, which makes her happy. She thinks he is lying, but the man isn't joking. He believes she would have surpassed Felix, the best pianist in Padania, if she kept playing. Annette doesn't know if the man is sincere or he is just acting again. She really believes she isn't good. She thinks all her achievements and titles were bought by her father's wealth. She only won those awards because of her status. Hiner doesn't think so. She was privileged, but she really did have some talent. Hiner watched her for years, and he knows how hard she worked. During her competitions, she never made a mistake. She struggled through the pain, just to become the best. She even composed her own original songs. Her only focus was the piano. He doesn't understand her passion, but he can tell she is amazing. He thinks she is talented and the perfect person for this job. Annette wonders why he believes in her. She really doesn't know how to compose since it was forbidden for women of noble status. She thought she had no talent for it and chose to give up. Still, Hiner insists she is the best composer. The girl is confused and wonders why he trusts her. She doesn't even believe in herself. They had never spoken about music. He avoided that part of her life and even seemed to be keeping a distance from it. In the past, he knew everything about her and had studied her tastes. If he wanted to steal her heart, using the piano was the easiest way. Yet, he refused to do so. The girl thinks about their past, but nothing makes sense anymore. Hiner vows to take full responsibility. Since he gave her the job, he will protect her. Annette enjoys her food and finds it funny. The same man who destroyed her life is also the first person to recognize the real her. Hiner brings over the document and asks if she needs anything else. Annette is confused until he mentions the piano. She refuses and says looking at her musical sheet is enough, but the man doesn't think so. He suggests they visit the nearby church. Annette is still afraid and traumatized, but she has to swallow her fear for the country and her people. She makes up her mind and agrees to go. The car ride is very awkward. Hiner is nervous and tries to start a conversation by asking about her visits to church. The girl admits she started attending Mass only when she arrived at the battlefield. He is curious, so she explains it is her place of comfort. The man suddenly says she can come to him. He wants her to tell him everything. Annette refuses, and the man seems confused, asking why he can't comfort her. This conversation has become too weird. She reminds him he doesn't tell her anything, but that is the man's plan. He wants them to have more conversations. Our girl decides to stay silent. Even if they talk, they will never trust each other. Because they always hide their true selves, their relationship has no future. The couple arrive at the church, and Annette is amazed to see the piano. She had sacrificed many years of her life, learning to play the piano each day. It feels like she is seeing her first love. And yet, she still can't play. She finally tells Hiner she can't play anymore. The man isn't surprised. He hadn't heard her play since the revolution ended. She's annoyed and asks why he dragged her over. Hiner thought it was temporary. He assumed she was just uncomfortable at Felix's party. But Annette really can't play anymore. The man is curious. She reveals the soldiers killed her father while she was practicing. After the revolution, everyone doubted her skills. Every award she won was taken away from her. Because of that, she became afraid to play. She wanted to try today, but ended up failing again. Hiner finally realizes he ruined everything the girl had. He looks sad, but Annette finds him funny. He should be happy because his revenge was successful. He allowed every bad thing to happen to her and watched her fall from grace. Still, she doesn't blame him. But that is what upsets him. He wants her to resent him and give him a chance to explain his actions. The man looks completely broken. The girl is tired of talking about their sad past and wants to leave. Suddenly, the sun starts to shine brightly. Annette is amazed by how beautiful it looks. But while she is admiring the church, Hiner is stunned by her beauty. We go back to the past. Annette finds the flowers Hiner dropped outside her practice room. She's amazed by their beauty and almost worships them. She looks very happy, which makes her maid laugh. She wonders when the girl will grow up. Our heroine is a helpless romantic and is already imagining which handsome man left them behind. The maid is sure it must be one of her father's soldiers who attended the banquet. Annette looks very unhappy and rejects the idea. She doesn't think the soldiers are that romantic. They won't even understand her taste. This person found her practice room and even left behind a bouquet for her. He must have loved her performance. Her maid isn't lost in romance and knows this is dangerous. The person is secretly watching her. Annette can only think about love and thinks this is the perfect romance. Her maid doesn't agree and is ready to move her music room into the mansion. Annette disagrees. She must find out who this mystery man is. The maid finally gives up and vows not to say anything. Annette is happy and admires the flowers again. The maid notices they are the same color as her eyes. Annette is pleased and imagines who this strange admirer is. She really wants to meet him. Several days have passed since their visit to the church. Our heroine seems to have the perfect life. She shares breakfast with Hiner, then studies the music sheet for the rest of the day. We think today will be an ordinary day, but she sees something that makes her scared. The girl rushes to Hiner's office, but sees him with her former enemy. Major Eugene is here. She refuses to speak until Hiner tells her the Major knows everything. Annette has heard some rumors about the Major. He never attended an academy, but he is very talented. He had also suffered in the hands of the nobles. The girl finally meets him after a year, but he still looks at her with disgust. Still, she has to ignore him. She has something important to report. She might have found some information. She shows Hiner the music sheet and the numbers keep repeating. There seems to be a pattern. The men are all surprised. Hiner praises her and says he will use her idea, but his reaction is a bit weird. Now Annette begins to doubt herself again. Immediately she leaves. The men relax. It seems her plan is really valuable. Eugene thought her first idea was just luck, but he has to admit she is really smart. If her new idea works, they might decode all the documents. During the war, decoding is just as important as fighting. It can cause victory or lead to the deaths of thousands of people. Annette has just made a big achievement. Eugene wonders what Hiner is going to do. Our male lead isn't stingy and plans to reward her. He warns Eugene to stop looking down on her. Apart from decoding, she has worked hard as a nurse and served her country. The major feels ashamed. He thinks the commander is really amazing. He never allows his personal feelings to affect his judgment. We know this isn't true, but as long as Eugene apologizes, our heroine still feels uneasy. She has no idea if her contribution is useful. She runs into Eugene and waits for him to insult her, but the man just frowns and walks away. Our girl is frightened by the change and wonders if he is about to die or something. She feels more restless when Hiner stops her from decoding the document. As if things couldn't get worse, the Axis powers sneakily attack Pedania and bomb the country's capital. The city is destroyed and countless people are killed. Our heroine is in shock. She wonders why the Axis didn't attack the military bases, but she soon understands. They are trying to cause fear. Bombing the capital will make the people afraid. She worries about Catherine and her family and is glad they left the capital. Annette receives an order that evening. She will be leaving the military camp tomorrow morning. She is sent to the Huntington Field Hospital, which is at the far rear. Annette doesn't argue and packs her belongings. She decides to burn the rest, but runs into an unexpected visitor at the back of the barracks. The girl sees Hiner. He always looks strong, but today he seems very weak. She decides to keep him company. She is shocked to see him smoking. The man tries to deny it, but every sentence makes things worse. He decides to just shut up. Annette tells him she is leaving tomorrow. He asks if she will contact him, but she tells him the question is silly. The girl notices how stressed he looks. Hiner confirms it is really hard. He is carrying too many lives on his shoulders. Annette feels sorry for him. He looks so fragile and she doesn't know how to comfort him. The man finally tells her idea was very useful. He is going to reward her, so he has to know what she wants. Hiner is ready to give her what she wants, but the girl has only 2 requests. She still wants to send that letter to Ryan. The man is upset and says the letter will be inspected. Annette is just glad he didn't refuse. He asks for her second request, and the girl says she doesn't want to see him anymore. The man looks heartbroken. He had spent all his life fighting to be part of hers, but all she wants is to erase him. He is hurt, but still agrees to her request. He is going to let her go forever. The girl is about to leave, but he grabs her hand. He begs her to hug him just once. Annette holds him and feels him trembling. He looks so small and pitiful. He reminds her of her past self. She held on to him desperately, afraid to face the pain alone. She had convinced herself his love would return until finally, she had to let him go to save herself. Now it is his turn to let her go. The Axis continue to bomb Pedania's capital, causing the people to hide in shelters. The soldiers fight hard to defend their country, but the enemies are too many. Soon they have to surrender and retreat. The Axis seem to be winning, but after countless battles, the Pedania army chases them off Pasala Island. It is the most important military base, and Pedania wins. Still, several soldiers are dead and the injured ones are sent to Huntington. The hospital is full of chaos. Several nurses struggle to save the soldiers, and Annette does her best to help. Evening arrives and our girl is covered in blood. She suddenly hears a soldier calling her and he claims to know her. She thinks it's a trick until he mentions Catherine. She finally recognizes the boy. It is Hans. He had heard rumors but didn't believe she was really here. Catherine had mentioned him, and Annette is surprised to see him here. She looks horrified when she sees the boy's legs. Or lack of. Hans has no legs anymore. The boy had stepped on a landmine. Annette is shocked, but then she realizes he was supposed to be at the rear. It seems the front lines are being pushed back. Right now, Huntington Hospital is the closest to the front lines. She asks about Catherine, but the boy hasn't told anyone. When he returns, they will find out. Hans has actually been feeling guilty. He had exposed Annette's identity and was afraid she ran to the army to avoid the rumors. Our girl was actually upset. Because of his actions, Catherine and her family were also dragged into the mess. She admits he caused her trouble, but she didn't come here to hide. She had planned it from the start. The boy is relieved and apologizes. Annette might not like him, but his apology makes her happy. She decides to forgive him. It seems some soldiers aren't injured enough. They still have enough energy to gossip about Annette. They keep saying nasty things about her, but are caught by the nurses. Annette is also there and hears those words. The work is already hard, but hearing these gossips makes her exhausted. Still, she decides to ignore them. Just then, a soldier rushes in with terrible news. Huntington has been attacked by the Axis, and they have entered the city's streets. Right now, they have to run away. The nurses are shocked. The front lines have been pushed back, and now even Huntington is about to fall. The Pedania army have gone into hiding, and the enemy is searching for them. The nurses have to leave, but there is a big problem. Most of the soldiers are injured and can't move. Someone will have to stay behind to take care of them. The senior nurses beg for volunteers, but no one is willing. The enemies are searching and destroying everywhere. Remaining here means certain death. Annette is tempted, but she remembers Hiner begging her to live. She can remain alive or help the soldiers. The girl chooses to live for him. Annette is about to leave, but Hans is still in bed. The boy chooses to stay behind. She tries to change his mind, but he insists on staying. He doesn't want to become a burden. Both his legs have been cut off. If he returns home, he won't be able to work. Annette doesn't want him to give up. But the boy isn't sad. He gives the chance to the other soldiers. He tries to make a joke and says he won't die. Annette is stunned to see him smiling. She thought he was just a rude or pitiable person, but she was wrong. She has met many people on the battlefield and now understands a lot of things. Yet she can't understand his choice. She doesn't know if leaving is the right decision. The boy notices her luggage and knows she is going. He is happy for her, and the two say their goodbyes. The journey begins, but Annette is still worried. Everywhere is so foggy. The other nurses are sure they will move further to the rear, but only regular towns will be there. Our heroine thinks about Hiner. The man might be powerful, but what matters is the army's strength. A nurse suddenly walks up to her, asking for more information. Annette is uncomfortable and says she doesn't know anything. The other nurses drag the girl away and scold her. The journey continues, but everyone feels uneasy. They can still hear the sound of bombing. Soon, they are forced to stop. There is a landmine ahead. The nurses are worried. Even now, the Axis still bombs the capital. Our heroine ignores them and tries to sleep, until she hears them saying, "Sincere has been bombed." The girl forgets about sleeping. She is desperate and asks the nurse to explain. The woman says it was in the news. The enemies were targeting a nearby industry, but because of the foggy weather, they misfired. Most of the buildings were destroyed. The nurse sees how scared Annette is and tries to comfort her. She says Sincere isn't a busy place, but Annette knows that isn't true. The town is full of old houses built closely together. They don't even have underground facilities. She returns to bed, but she can't sleep. She thinks about Catherine and tries to convince herself they are safe. Their house is at the edge of town. But it was a misfire. The bombs could have dropped anywhere.